And we are live. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Hell and Back, our Within the Ring of Fire saga. I am your flame tender tonight, Matt, and I'm going to throw this over to Andrew Wood so he can give a little plug for the game we're playing.
All right, thank you everyone out there, Barbarian Horde and otherwise. We're going to be posting a link to this momentarily. In fact, I don't see the link. Matt, if you could grab the link here and stick it in the comment pages, I'm gonna hit it out there so all the people out there at YouTube land can enjoy it up and enjoy watching us play this game, if you will, live. Make sure you get your copies Within the Ring of Fire Saga book, hardback. 77 Thrones, the Theological Codex, hardback or softback. Fey Wine, the first novel for Within the Ring of Fire, fully supported. Monsters and Men, the fourth book, will be coming very soon. You can get a PDF package deal, $80 for everything on PDF ever released for Within the Ring of Fire, and a bunch of extras too. You get the first issue of Theater of the Mind magazine as part of that deal. You get a whole bunch of stuff, and you get this stuff first on PDF. So hit me up on Facebook, main man. Join Raw Immersive Games. There's a like page, and then there's also a community where you can join and talk to people like Matt and George and Andrew. They're all there. They're talking about Within the Ring of Fire. They're getting hot. They're getting burned up, and you can get your mind caught in a flame of blaze of creativity and imagination as well. Get the books. Join the phenomenon. Role playing. Woo, my God, baby! Let me turn it over to Andrew to recap the story from last week, from episode 1. And where were you? I was there. So take it away, baby.
All right. Last session, we had quite a lot of horrible things happen to all of our characters. For one reason or another, our characters were dragged in chains as prisoners of the religion of He Who Has Many Names. And we have been brought south through a desert into an area, and we have been thrown into the world's largest prison that is the largest temple to He Who Has Many Names. And this prison is called the Trench. And in the Trench, we found that there are many hungry eyes looking for meat, because there is no food ever thrown into the Trench, only other humanoids that you could get your hands on. So, luckily, as we got thrown in, a man who is a Freyine named Kaladin, he managed to stave off the hungry mouths from devouring us, and he has sort of sponsored our characters and made sure that we got food and somewhere to bed for the night, a cave. And in this cave, we have found some sort of crack within the wall. And our characters are seeing if perhaps we could make an escape through this crack. We have been attacked by some filthy Chthon, and we have fought them off. And we are recovering from that battle and seeking a way to escape this horrible prison called the Trench. And that is all.
Excellent. At the very end of last session, we left off with Yvashta Ka, the Mihan Gi. He had been in search of metal, some sort of a tool to try and pry open this crack, and when he went back to the steps leading into the trench, 11 6-foot-high steps that cause pain to any prisoner who does not have piety, with a piety rating geared toward He Who Has Many Names, he was confronted by a terrifyingly ugly beast who looked as though his head was that of a fly, giant compound eyes, only 3 fingers, and this beast, whatever he may have been, was carrying chains that they needed, and he made Yvashta Ka a deal. If he could climb to the 3rd step, he would give him the metal. And of course, our character failed. He was unable to, as he has no piety in He Who Has Many Names. He worships a different god, that of Luck Ku. And that is where we're going to begin. As the dawn's light begins to peer over the top of the trench, those first moments, those species who live in daylight are beginning to go about their daily lives, as much of a life as you can have within the trench. And Yvasta Ka, you catch the eye of Caladan, the Freyne who saved you. He watched you fail. He has seen your misery, and there's a slight smile of amusement from him.
I harden my eyes at him, this creature that is clearly nothing but food. And I'm glaring at him, just miserable, rejected, unable to find the metal, even if I had to endure the wrath of Tehulian iron against my fair fey flesh. Certainly would have been at least some opportunity and option to be able to break through that small part of the hole. I certainly have no intention or desire of telling Caliban about any of this and allowing him any part of that. I found him to be a loathsome, wretched creature. The fact that he is even an abomination to his own people somehow makes me even more disgusted with this thing that ought to be wishing to eat grass. I look at him, and the smell of him, though, intoxicates me and flashes me back to that first time when I, in trade, when I fell upon that frame and tasted her sweet, rich fey wine, and so greatly desiring to bring his down my throat to end that hunger that I felt here in this loathsome, wretched place, having to devour a satyr, thinking how good he tastes. I just smell him as I begin to collect myself to move back to my companions.
You can see that there's a small crowd of people beginning to gather around Caladan. They don't look as if they are hostile at all, more like they are simply waiting for him to say something. And this is when you remember that he demanded that you attend morning prayer for Dazazea.
No, I have no desire to remember that. I'm a creature of the night, and certainly not going to be praying to the goddess of weakness and loathsome Freyanness.
Bryce and Thalagar, your companion has not returned from his journey into the night to look for the Tehulian blood iron. And the sunlight is beginning to filter in through the cave, just ever so slightly, that golden, beautiful light. And you look over and you can see your Kalfar companion, Cern. And for those of you watching at home, Cern is another one of the catalysts playing, but our player had a family emergency and is unable to be here. However, Cern, as the dawn's light kind of begins to glow on her face, you can see she's a little bit emboldened, and some of the confidence that may have been shaken from the events of the previous day seems to kind of shrug off a bit.
Where's that disgusting creature? Should have been back by now.
Thalagar, it is morning. We were told by Caladan that we must go to the morning prayer. I suggest we do so quickly. He told us to be prompt.
Prayer? I'm not going to attend any prayer.
Well, you don't have to pray, Thalagar. Just, I think it would be a little unwise to cross him. You remember, he's...
I remember his ogre.
Yeah, that's my point exactly. He has much influence in here. We need to be careful of him.
I suppose you're right. Well, let's look for, what was his name? Yvasta Ka. I think he might have been already devoured.
Well, perhaps we'll find him along the way. I suggest we get going, though, promptly.
He looks, Thalagar just looks back at that little crack they have, this precious little piece of hope. Yeah, but knows his eyes. Let's not take too long. I don't want this exposed. for too long and others finding it.
Agreed.
Let's go.
Okay.
Cern begins to using her one working arm to try and pull one of the corpses of the Chthon to the back of the cave, and looks over to you and says, "Can I get a little help, please?"
Tholigar looks over to Bryce. Go.
I look at the corpses, suddenly almost remembering the night before in which I horribly murdered a Chthon who was defenseless. Sure, he may have come after us, but the memory sort of shocks me at the influence that this place has had. And yeah, sure. So I grab one of the, without looking as much as I can, I grab one of them and go hauling into the back of the cave.
The crack is covered almost completely by the corpse of the Chthon. It's but a small thing, a tiny chink in the wall. Only the barest sliver of hope that you could possibly have in a place as wretched and cursed as this. But you do manage to conceal it. Any who came into your dwelling, searching for any possessions you might have, searching for you, is only going to see the mutilated corpse of 3 different Chthon, 3 strong and vicious monsters who are seeking to take your own lives. If anything, this is a message to the others.
We must get going quickly. And I sort of move away. I drop the Chthon just suddenly and just leave it there, having to deal no more with this dead corpse.
Tholigar will follow closely behind Bryce. Always keep a lookout for someone who might want to surprise them, as they did in that night raid.
You guys emerge from the cave, and you can see the same as before. There's just hundreds and hundreds of different wretches, just like yourself, torn and tattered clothing. There are a few people who it looks like they have been here so long, their skin is so weathered, and their clothing so old that they're just wearing tatters and rags. And as you kind of begin to make your way down into the crowds towards the steps where Yvashta was headed, you notice that when you look over your shoulder, Cern is not following you. And when you look around a little bit more, she's gone.
Tholigar, have you seen Cern? That
He looks over his shoulder. No, was I supposed to look out for her?
No, I look amongst the crowd and see if I can see her anywhere.
You don't. And as you look back over your shoulder, there's many crowds going the other direction in the trench, and you're sure that this Kalfar, this mysterious and beautiful being, should she want to disappear, it was most likely certainly within her power to do so.
Leave the cripple behind. She won't make it for long anyway. Let's go.
I give a kind of reluctant glance. I don't want to leave someone who I consider somewhat defenseless and helpless, at least in my own mind, to the whims of these horrible people. But I reluctantly continue onwards towards the large gathering.
Yvashta, as you sit and watch this enormous and quite diverse crowd gathering around Caladan and awaiting his command, you see your 2 friends, or at least the closest thing that you have to friends, the foul-smelling and foul-tasting Farum, and the human whose link to Laku, however tenuous, just by an accident of his birth. Something about him still is a little familiar to you, and though you may not call him a friend, you know at least he is not an enemy.
Well, I regard the livestock and the useless curmudgeon here with some annoyance. You can certainly see a predatory feral gleam in my eye and an anger that seems to be likely to spill out and snap at any moment, certainly unknowing of the degradation I have recently been through. When I just look at both of you glaring hard.
As we finally can spot Yuvashtakar, Thalagar will just walk over. Well, you wanted to find something. Where is it? Have you found it?
Nay, I was unable to get what I went out into the darkness to find. It's pulled away by a strange, filthy, despicable creature. Don't know what it's called, but it looked like filth. Filth had the form of a man, with fly head and a sucker, a foul, vicious sucker, like the big fat flies you see down by the dock and the gleaming water of trade. That's the kind of thing it was, but like a man with hairs. Oh, it was loathsome. And the eyes, all those little bits and pieces on each of its eyes. Oh, a loathsome thing to be sure. Something I certainly wouldn't want to be eaten. It's almost as unappealing as you, Thalagar. Not quite, but close. And you are a disgusting creature yourself.
No, and you didn't eat it.
Nay, I couldn't even get to it. It was up there, one of the servants of he who has many names. Oh, taunted me. I sought to get the chains, the same chains for which they bound me, the chains that burned with that hell steel, with that iron of pain that your progenitor, Jehul, brought, and you evil Farum, you foul little beast, you stumpy creatures, used to defy our fairy heritage, to disrupt the dream that's woven to flesh. Aye.
Now you be careful, whatever the hell it is you are.
I'm Mihan Gay.
Sure.
Sure indeed.
I kind of look at Yuvashtakar skeptically. In my mind, I sort of consider him a little bit crazy, considering he rambles on about some dead god of my ancestors. But I kneel on the ground and kind of I keep my distance from him as well. I consider him rather dangerous and scary with his eating other humans and other things of very similar to my own kind. And I keep a little bit an arm's length distance from Thalagar as well, as I find him, although he is somewhat reliable, he is extremely smelly, and it's difficult to stay close to him for any extended period of time.
Whom you call smelly?
Do you ever wash, like, water?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Human. Did I just forgot my soap somewhere? You have a bucket of soap and water?
Well, you Farum, you never even seem to, even when you're in the city, the common stinks of your kind. Do you ever? Oh.
Loathsome, filthy little stumps of men.
He just, nah.
Repugnant.
Well, for me, you all look the same, you all smell the same. I find it rather revolting as well. You don't hear me complaining, oh, shut up.
Well, you think he and I look the same?
Not you, humans in general.
Oh, yeah, humans do look very similar, I agree.
Yeah, I can never keep them apart.
It's very difficult. They do taste wonderful, though. I mean, they're no Freyene or anything, but they're still quite succulent. Good meat, and I kind of like look you over, like my eyes roaming along your form in a way that's almost sexual. It wasn't so obvious what I was doing, looking at the fattier parts, the meatier areas, my eyes trailing, gazing, lingering for a little too long, and I lick my lips slightly.
As you see this happening, you are looking over Yavashtakar's shoulders, Bryce, and you can see that same look that he is giving to you reflected on the faces of the crowd around Caladan and his ogre, who towers above them all.
Yeah, I find a place to kneel, and I have in my mind I have no intention of probably following the prayer, but I try to ignore the hungry stares of the others and the hungry stares of Yavashtakar, and try to, my mind is racing, and I'm starting to feel a great sort of weight coming down on my shoulders. So I begin to follow through on the meditative uh, the meditative trances that I learned when I was with the Temple of Dista, and I sit kneeling on the ground and start to meditate, staying aware, closing my eyes, but keeping an awareness through listening to others' approach. And
as you do this, Caladan actually speaks, and he says, "Ah, good. For a moment there, I thought you weren't going to attend. We shall now begin the morning prayers to our goddess of tranquility, who may bring us peace and protect our souls from he who has many names. Come, come, Mr. Ferrum. Kneel."
I would rather not. If that's okay.
Would you rather not have my protection?
Reluctantly, as if it takes some great strength to do this, he just drops on his knees, his stare just straight ahead, automatic, just as a puppet would. Drops on his knee. One knee.
As you go down to one knee, he comes to your side and whispers in your ear. Yavashtakar can probably hear this with his heightened senses, but he speaks to you in Tehulian as he has been. But he says, "If you make me lose face in front of my followers, I'll cut your fucking nose off. Do you hear me?"
I look up. I say nothing.
And you see his face is just completely tranquil, like that of the picture of a follower of Dazazea. He turns back and smiles upon Bryce and looks at his Mihangi companion, as he might put it. And he says, "You, Mr. Yavashtakar, will you not join us? Will you not protect your soul from he who has many names?"
Aye. Indeed, I will protect it, but not on need to you or your goddess flowers. I don't like flowers. I don't like the smell of this place. I don't like the smell of your goddess or the weakness you call tranquility you wrap yourselves in. I'll pass. I will put my faith in he who looks down from the blood-red skies. And I kind of move back slightly, and I have a very aggressive look on my face.
He looks at you, utterly displeased. And he comes up to you and he whispers into your ear, as close as he, really closer than any Freyene would ever be comfortable to being next to one of your kind.
I lean forward to smell him, like, and I quiver, like with my hunger rising so much I can barely prevent myself from lunging at him to devour his sweet, sun-drenched blood.
He says, "You think that this face that you put on in front of thee is going to save you? I am the only thing in this wretched place standing between you and being shit out of every one of this crowd.
My eyes getting wide and dark from member to member, looking at face to face, and then I resolve steely, the fear in my eyes only momentarily showing as I glare at one to the next, trying to make them think I'm far too dangerous of a thing to come for.
He says, don't forget I've tasted the flesh of your kind before, and I can and will taste it again.
So, like,
If you walk away now, you will lose my protection.
I stare at him, confused, unsure, but unshaken in my faith, as I do have belief that Laku has put me here for some degree of purpose, though I wrestle to figure out what it may be.
He simply steps back, and he says, the choice is yours. And the smile and the tranquility returns to his face. Then he turns to the crowd and gathers them all in around you in front of these steps. And they all begin to kneel. There are many, many different races being represented here. Bryce seems to be the only human, as they are still relatively rare in the world. You may even be one of the first humans to have ever been sentenced to the trench. There are one or two Farum with beards that have been awkwardly cut from their faces, growing in patches, showing that they have indeed abandoned their anti-theism and embraced the religion of a god, the gods who betrayed them. There are Vaigish, there are Sirish, there's maybe about 70 people in several different races. And Caladan quiets them all down and begins to lead them in a chant that kind of brings everybody's spirit down and just into a calm state. And he begins to offer almost a sermon to Dazazea. And do any of you have any theology?
I do. 3 ranks with a forte in the gods.
It'd be grades, my friend. Great.
Oh, great. Yes, thank you.
My theology is 4 grades, so I don't have any fortes in it, though.
Okay. That's okay. That's enough. He begins to give a sermon about tranquility and about Dazazea, but there's just something fucking wrong about it. Everything he's saying, it seems like it's been it's a twist, a lie on it. There's the truth of this religion being told, but at the same time, it's being said in a way that to anyone who has any knowledge of the gods, of Dazazea, this is it's almost like sacrilege. It's as if he's teaching something false and evil to the people around him.
Well, following the god that I do, that's even more repugnant than it otherwise would have been, which is nearly impossible. As I look on.
The silence, the complete and utter silence of your soul is what is required of you. There is no escape, there never has been from this place. Not one has ever climbed these steps without having joined the ranks of he who has many names. But if you silence your soul in complete and utter submission to Dazazea, she can grant you peace. This flesh, this body of yours, is nothing. You must leave this flesh. You must leave this flesh to the others around you. Your body is not your own. Your spirit is not your own. It belongs to the Lordess of Tranquility. And he continues to go on like this for several more minutes.
I shut out what he is saying. I almost immediately, when I came in here, I did have my suspicions, but now they have been completely confirmed that he's leading some sort of heresy and cult down here, and I shut out what he is saying, and I don't think he's necessarily what I assume he's not looking towards me.
No, he's in general just kind of looking out over the crowd. Every once in a while he's walking up and down just between people. He hasn't specifically been addressing anything to you. He really has been paying attention to the entirety of the crowd.
I begin to, now that I've achieved a peace of mind in my meditative state, I begin to very, very quietly chant to the point where I think probably only Yavashta Ka would be able to hear what I am saying, but in several different languages, depending on whether you know them, Yavashta Ka, in Pelganese and Mulish and in Gazazes and in Morgulish, I chant, divinities above, hear my prayer. I must leave the religion of Dista, for although she teaches something very close to my heart, she is a servant of those who have harmed my family. I can no longer serve her. I need someone strong, a strong divinity amongst you, to help me in my time of need. I will offer up my services to you. Please, send a sign, send an omen in which I can, of whom amongst you I may serve to escape this place. Someone strong to fight against those of the enforcers and those who would hurt the innocent and the defenseless senselessly and for no reason. Hear my prayer, divinities. And I repeat that in each of those languages, back in Pelganese and Mulish and Dazazes and Morgulish.
Quick question to you, Andrew. You also speak to Julian, right?
I do, but I've not used it.
Just making sure that's I thought the language you were speaking in.
Seeming like, yep, I seem to exclude that just in case someone.
You're good. I was just a point of clarity.
Yep. Seems like I know many languages.
Oh, sorry, I was muted. I was trying to talk. Sorry. Caladan has stopped his sermon as he's passed by, and he kind of bends down and he puts his hand on your shoulder, Bryce, and kind of grasps the collar of your shirt and begins to kind of pull you up, just ever so lightly, for you to stand.
I do so with reluctance, but he is our sponsor, so I do so. Rise to my feet.
Bryce Highcrow, have you something to add?
Nope, I don't think so.
But you speak the most holy tongue of Dazaseya. You speak it so beautifully. Tell us, please, what is it were you saying?
I simply wish in this horrible place to find a tranquility upon me. Which in my mind, I'm completely telling the truth. It's just not the whole truth.
He says, he looks over the crowd, and he says, "None among you except this one speaks the tongue of Dazazeya. He has proclaimed a great prayer to her, and only her. He seeks her favor, he seeks her peace. This is the example to you all that I have been looking for, one who has only just arrived here, who has so thoroughly embraced my principles. It is to him that you will look for authority when I am gone. And you can see the crowd is gazing at you with jealousy, envy, and hunger.
On one hand, this does certainly frighten me, but I don't mind this sort of thing, having a little bit of power over these people if I can. But I don't say anything.
The prayers finally come to an end, this disgusting ritual, and the crowd begins to disperse, and when you look at Caladan, he kind of catches your eye before you leave, and you can tell that he's totally displeased with what you did. These prayers have not been just an offense to him. He is just seething with rage below the surface.
I pretty much I ignore that, seeming like I don't even notice.
Okay. You guys are free to, the crowd disperses, and Caladan and his ogre take their leave of you. You are free to kind of pursue your own ends at this moment.
Thologar just finally stands up as soon as he can and walks over to Bryce. What did you do? That wasn't, whatever it was, wasn't smart.
I'm walking over to Bryce as well, actually.
Yes, well, I seek the help of one. Perhaps we should talk about this in private. Caladan is most displeased with me, but perhaps privately, and I can discuss. And I sort of walk back towards the cave now that the prayers are done.
I approach you being uninterested in whatever it is you were going to say privately. As we continue back there, though, I speak to you. There. And I kind of look at both of you, sort of almost nervously glancing. The Christ. He was not delivering a sermon with Azaziah. Caladan was going into business for himself for whatever reason. And I should tell both of you that the tones and words he spoke were not those of the foul, wretched goddess of alleged tranquility, that loathsome progenitor of the false, light-faced twist of the true Fae, the Mihan Gi, our perverted other halves. Not that at all. It was something else, something other, and hideous. He's trying to speak with a forked tongue. Followers of Laku are tellers of truth, and lies themselves are abominable. Do not be confused, do not be shocked. It is but another fraying that he pays true service and worship to here in this first entrance into hell itself. He may well be worshipping that second fraying, the corrupter of the lights of red and purple and orange that dot the end of the day. He may well be a follower of Loptith, for his lies are sweet as honey, as sweet as the smell that wafts off him, demanding his blood be sucked down my gullet to feed the fire of hunger inside me. I believe it might be to such a cult that he proposes behind the face of the flower-eared goddess. Be careful, for followers of Loptith are liars, most perverted, and it might be this whole place that they turn into such a bastard faith the follower of Luku, I cannot abide such things, and I will not. And I will lose my flesh and the beat of my heart before I lose my soul to the lying goddess. Be careful with that, Christ. Be careful with that, Thalagar.
Oh, I couldn't really tell. Well, it sounded like a bunch of bollocks to me. You know, sometimes I can't keep the two of you apart. You sound much the same at times.
Are you saying I sound the same as a fraying? Is that what you're
No.
saying?
Oh, you both talk about gods that matter not in this place.
I do agree with you, Yavashtakar. It does seem, I've read of such things. He seems to be spouting some sort of heresy against his own faith. Perhaps you are right. Perhaps he is a follower of Loptif. That does seem reasonable to me. A reasonable enough answer. I will be careful of his lies.
Just another reason we need to get out of here as soon as possible.
Agreed.
We're all in agreement on that, I think. Is that the correct, Bryce? So I'll get out of here soon.
Yes.
Well, we have that particular piece of business we need to investigate. I don't see any way of acquiring any, and I lean in, any tools that might help us. I tried the only idea that come to mind. Perhaps you, Thalagar, provide some idea. You are a most tool-using people. My one idea is not
Perhaps
faith.
we can use this. And when you turn around, Cern is at the edge of the cave. She steps in, and from her tattered cloak, from underneath it, pulls out what looks like a large, maybe the femur of some large animal or large humanoid. And around this, at the top, is what looks like a crudely made hoe of iron.
Oh, let me
And
take
she
a look at
brings it
that.
inside.
I just find it gleeful that I can actually see some pure minerals. Where did you find that? Let me look at that.
She goes, I made a deal, and we can get more.
Deal with whom?
It does not matter, Thalagar. I'm sure she has her resources. I'd rather not know.
Really?
Well, if we
Yes.
want more, we're going to need to do a job.
Oh, that sounds reasonable to me.
What kind of
Perhaps.
job?
There is a Vigish that I met. He calls himself Agaza. He has a source of iron.
Iron.
I see. Go on.
It is a foul business, not one that I would trade in any other circumstances. And she's looking at Thalagar, and she says, "This single hoe, it has taken many of your kind. Many have been slain, drained, and sifted through to find the iron in your blood.
Revolting. I'll take it back.
Almost
She
in
tried-
trade.
She, when you throw the this crude iron tool back to her, she gets in your face and kind of grabs your if you're wearing a shirt, I can't remember, grabs your collar and says, "I will not die here, Farum. I will not die here and allow my soul to be taken down into the pit, into hell, away from the dawn's light. I seek to serve Elsam. Do you understand me? I will not die here if I have to kill 10,000 of you people down here to get enough iron to break that crack open. I will do it."
Just kind of take her hand if I can, the one hand she has. Just grip it tightly Now you shut up with all of your gods. The gods will not bring us out of here. And just rip myself free. Okay, I understand. I understand this. Okay. What does he want us to do to get those? Does he have more?
He does. And there are others. He's traded with many. They have weapons in this place. Many have tried to use these implements to climb their way out. But we know how that ends. Thinking back previously to the night before, you remember seeing the carcass of a man broken upon the jagged rocks at the top of this trench. The maggots that were ripping the flesh from his bones.
So, he kind of thought, can't we just get rid of this guy and take it?
It's not that easy. He's strong. And there's magic at play, some sort of power. Perhaps divine. I don't know much about these things, but he is asking something that I think is going to be a little difficult of us. He wants us to kill Caladan and his ogre for him.
And the I look over to Bryce and Yavashtakar with a bit of despair. Have you seen that ogre?
Oh, it's huge.
Perhaps there's another way of getting in rather than forcing our way in. Perhaps I could pretend to be persuaded by his words and wish to be a disciple of his. That may work. It would allow me to get close to him. Perhaps that would work. I do not know.
Perhaps. You get close if you want to be an assassin. Interesting idea. Do you have it in you though, Bryce? Do you have it in you to be a cold killer?
I've seen the boy work.
It's a fawn.
I did. I regret that.
Don't.
Something came over me.
Don't regret it.
I do not know. I don't know, but how else? He has so many followers. How else could we get out? I don't know another way of dispatching him.
He has to sleep somewhere sometime. They do
I'm more
sleep.
afraid of his cult.
Yeah.
Yes, they hang on his every word.
They treat him almost as a deity. I watched your prayers from afar.
Well, I don't see myself as one who is very good at slipping through the night and slitting someone's throat. Not that I'd even know if I could do such a thing. I don't consider myself quiet. It's not really my thing.
You're the predator. Wolfberry, how would you do it?
Essentially how he just described it. Slipping through the night, finding the light eyes there. I can't see worth a damn, from what I understand, in the darkness. Whether he's eating flesh or not, whether he's drunk blood or not. I don't believe he can see very well. Still, ogres can see better, and I think they have a keen sense of smell, if my mind isn't deceiving me. At least that's what I've been told back in the tribe days, when I was in the dark forest as a young one. But the ogre, that's a problem. But I believe it might be a problem that can be rectified. I don't know, perhaps the two of them are lovers, for the way that it attentively gazes at him and fins back others. I've heard of such degree of perversion. But, that being put aside, perhaps, just perhaps, all of those that are about him, many of them are bonded there by fear, because I can smell it. I can smell it on them. It wafts off in the morning ritual of profanity he performed, whether advertent or inadvertent to Loptif, whether those lies whispered here from this small place to drifting high into the aether. I believe it must be done with subtlety and stealth, but once we have him done, hopefully we can at least put time between us and the eventual capture, if it is to come. That's what I would suggest. Getting close if Bryce can do it. If he has a heart in his stomach to be a real warrior, a real assassin. Take him out like I did those small, stumpy, turtle-headed Thawne. Perhaps it'd be more difficult. I don't know. That's all about your heart. He's not going to trust me, though. He's going to be looking for me from a while away. He knows I want to eat him. Anyone can tell that.
What if we killed the ogre first?
He would lack protection, but he would certainly be paranoid, even more so. How would we kill that thing without weapons?
This Vigish you speak of, would he be willing, perhaps, to back us up after we have done this deed? To protect us from this cult, and for maybe enough time.
It's possible, but there's something wrong about his mind. Like the others here, he doesn't seem normal. The trench has taken its toll on him. At least that's the way it appears to me. We could speak with him.
So we can't trust him either.
He's demonstrated his, at least in an act of good faith, with this one tool.
And we don't need infinite protection from him for as we only need it for a certain amount of time. Perhaps we could persuade for just a certain amount of time until we can make good our escape.
How do we cover our escape? What happens when we break through this wall, wherever it leads? I mean, it could be a 1,000-foot drop into nothingness back there. But once we break through, how do we ensure that nobody follows us? This guy just thinks that he's going to sell us tools. He doesn't know what we're using them for. I don't believe in any sort of randomness. I don't know what's guiding events, but this cave, this is the one with the weakness in the wall. We have to be careful about this opportunity.
I suppose we should meet the man first. Man, I say.
I can take you to him.
That does seem
What say
best.
you, Wolf Fairy? I see you there glaring at me.
If you want me to share my words with you. You think I'm going to trust one of these Vigish? I thought you were going to trust some kind of merchant. Nah. I don't seem like a good idea at all, and I certainly believe he won't be there to protect us should things go poorly on the exchange, which inevitably they certainly will. I'll say my piece. Let it play out as it will. I think we take Bryce and throw him out there. You volunteered anyway. Let's see what you can do. See if you have the stones, the gumption to perform what needs to be done. Let's see if Laku will smile upon you in the cold breeze of dusk.
Yes, well, I don't think Laku will be doing anything. He has died long ago, but I appreciate your good luck anyway.
Have you been there then, to the top, the high spire? Have you seen the new prophet that's come, this Nehemiah Dune? A person of your own kind, a human. One of the first I ever met. Aibelades that he has shown us with his mixed-sad wife. And I have seen, as others have seen of my own blood, and do not see me baptized in the blood of a truly dead god, come and gone. But the coup has come again, and you shall say, for do you not see the dusk? Do you not see the purples, the oranges? Do you not see the reds in the sky when the sun dies? Do you not see people dying? And how could a god of dying ever die? No. It's only a momentary setback at the hand of these foul enforcers, that he who has many names is one of. We shall make them pay. Each and every one, a war is coming. Believe that. Whether I am a sacrifice upon the first field here, or the second, or perhaps a man inside to inflict grievous wounds upon the followers of he who has many names. Shall see. Time shall tell as it unfolds, as Lethraxus wished to do. Yeah?
It sounds very unreasonable. I'm sorry.
Unreasonable! This whole place is unreasonable! Very unreasonable! And I am getting tired, I'm getting hungry, I'm like, but Satyr! Satyr is foul, stringy meat! I've got to use some good human flesh in my belly. A fray and all the better. Go! Try! Appeal! Acolyte! Initiate! Do what you need. Get close. And when you have the opportunity, bring flint or stone or iron to its throat and kill it while it sleeps, or when its back is to you. Shouldn't be too hard for you after all.
How will you know to come to my aid at the time that it happens? How will you know? I will be out there all by myself. How will I escape?
The wolf fairies pretend to intelligence, but everybody... Oh, we lost him. That's unfortunate. I think Anders gone.
Yes.
Oh, Jesus. I'm pretty sure he'll come right back.
Yep, he'll be back. Sorry, folks. Minor setback.
Goddamn ogres. You heard of the plan?
Thalagar, do you think this will work for me to infiltrate this organization? And
He does seem to like you, and the other one's who's the best with weapons, as far as I can tell. If any one of us can kill him, it's you, or that wolf fairy. Now, I'm not... The Thrain doesn't concern me as much as the ogre does. That thing could rip us in two with his bare hands. We need to think of something for him. We need to surprise him. Use the advantage of numbers we have. Like bees. Killing an intruder and bear into their hive. But how to separate them?
yeah, how will I? Once I have somehow found a way to slain this Caladan, there must be some way I could perhaps signal the rest of you to come to my aid. Perhaps you could stay nearby. I am thinking perhaps I pretend to break from all of you, that you are now all of my enemies, and that I have to appeal to him for protection. That is my thought on this.
Possible. Could also set us into great danger, though.
Yes, well, I think the whole thing will set us into great danger, but nothing risked, nothing gained in this case.
Absolutely. It's the one chance we have. We need to take it.
I agree.
But that iron might prove very useful in doing the deed. We have to separate them. Him from his followers that just swoop around him like puppy dogs. And we have to be close by. Help you escape. Help us run. And hide until the night falls. It should be easy enough to hide here, at least for a bit.
Yes. Oh, yes.
When I look at Caladan, I see a man of intelligence. of acumen. And while his ogre may be his most loyal servant, his most dangerous servant, I can't imagine himself allowing him to... One moment, I'm getting messages from Ander. He's having trouble joining back. Let me see if I can give him the link again. Goddamn Google Plus.
God damn it, indeed.
Just think of this yourself. Put yourself in the position of this man. He has a cult here who are practically worshipping him. Do you honestly think that they're not watching his cave? That there's not some of these nocturnal beasts looking out for him?
Eyes can be distracted.
Perhaps a diversion of sorts. That may be my best bet. Perhaps if we set up some sort of diversion that you guys are able to pull, perhaps that will be my moment to strike. That would be a good signal for me to take him at that time.
Yeah, that could work. Picking up a fist fight in this place is easy enough.
That's true enough. That is an idea.
Well, then let's just hope that this Kaldar is as frail as he looks.
Perhaps. So here's my thoughts on this then. CERN. Perhaps you have experience with this underground digging, or you know of such things. Perhaps since you already possess such a tool, perhaps you could begin digging a way out.
I can try, but with my disability, it'll be a little difficult.
That is a good point.
I'd much rather let the Ferrum do it.
I can do it. I know how to dig.
Perhaps you could do that while CERN and Yveshta Ka are able to set up a diversion, perhaps. And that would be the moment I could strike. Because the thing is...
I'm beginning to think as I look at Caladan's forces, it may be easier to betray the Vygish than it is to betray Caladan.
Would you be willing to give us weapons in advance? I don't suppose so.
No.
Who backs up this Vygish, though? He must have contacts, people he relies on, though. He would not be defenseless and possess all these weapons.
There were those within his cavern that were manipulating fire with nothing but their own hands. I believe that there are those who follow Morgul or some other divinity. They are wielding power that is beyond just our own mundanity.
That doesn't sound too inviting at all.
Sounds a hell of a lot more inviting than fighting that ogre and the congregation that showed up for his morning prayer.
Well, I hope it is not, yes. It's so difficult.
You plan on just stealing the weapons then?
Possibly.
I could see that working.
we may be able to accomplish that, but at any point, whatever happens, whenever we get these weapons, if whether we betray Caladan or we betray Agaza, their followers will come here. They will be looking for us. We won't have much time.
No.
Yes, I agree. And whoever side we attack, surely the other side will suspect something, suspect we are up to something, and come to investigate. And I am also certain that digging our way out will be quite loud and attract much attention from everyone.
If this man wants this worshipper, this cultist dead, maybe we can play them against each other. Maybe we can make them fight and in a brawl take the weapons, scurry away. Can't believe Caladan would be too happy to know someone wants him dead and hires us for it.
What an excellent idea, Thalgar. What we could do is perhaps I could go and speak to the cult leader and try to gain his favor, or at least pretend to try to gain his favor through informing him that this Vigish has perhaps done something that he would disapprove of, and perhaps we could get each side to fight each other. Perhaps I would tell them that he has something valuable.
Or just pretend that he's a blasphemous heretic in his eyes. I'm pretty sure that would make him mad as hell.
Well, it is true. They do seem to worship some sort of deity of fire. So perhaps we could just tell them the truth. Maybe they are not aware of this other rival group in their midst.
I could see that work. I've seen many a bloodshed start this way. But if we do it, we might bust our blunder a bit too soon. What if he doesn't? And what if the word spreads out and the Vigish knows of it? I'm just pointing out the possibilities here. Whatever we do, we have to be certain. He looks to each one. Whatever we do, we have to make it count.
I agree.
I think your idea of pitting them against each other is a very good one, but I think we would have to have someone on each side pitting the other against the other. I can handle, I suppose, Caladan, but who would? Are you any good at speaking to people?
Well,
Perhaps.
I can certainly emulate interest in his work of art, and I would actually like to see how he does that very much. Myself, I'm not too bad a blacksmith. I think I could at least pretend.
It's worth a shot.
Yeah.
I'd say so as well. Let's gather some intelligence and decide our next move based on that.
So you think visit this Vigish then, first?
Yeah, why not? He won't eat me.
Probably.
No one needs to fare him.
Ah, Ender, we can see you again.
Here we go. Did you see me?
Praise the Lord!
I kept popping in and out, and I actually just turned the whole computer off, and finally it was to be working. It was trying to be hijacked me. All right, you guys can hear me, yeah?
We can.
Yes, we can hear you.
Sorry, I missed a good portion. I apologize to the viewers at home too. I just couldn't. I had technical difficulties. So what's going on here?
So we've been discussing possible plans for killing Caladan or betraying Agaza the Vigish. Either one of which, you'll be pissing someone off, and their followers will be voraciously looking for you to kill you in revenge.
Now,
So
our
whatever
current plan,
is
though.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
you guys can go ahead and explain.
Our current plan, though, is that we may be able to incite the groups against each other. use this murderous plot in our advantage, tell Caladan about this, gain his trust, and make them fight each other. And in that midst of chaos, we take the weapons and we make our way out. Thalagar has agreed to try and infiltrate the group of this Agaza. He knows his way with iron. He knows how to wield it. Maybe he can fake interest.
Iron. But not the one thing that you know.
I know iron. I know I can eat it. I know that's delicious. I know how to wield it into something
You
deadly.
eat iron. You eat iron?
You eat men, women,
Yeah.
and children.
Men, women, and children are delicious. Iron that's absolutely disgusting. And it just keeps. It's like you eat garbage. Is what you're telling me. Would you just take a rock here and shove it in your mouth and call that dinner?
Only
This
the
attitude of
gen-
yours is exactly the kind of myopia that has led to violence between you and the Freyines and the Kalfar for ages.
Who says this?
This is Cern speaking.
Shit. I'll have to tell you a lot of things about violence.
Contracts, my friend. Contracts
You're
are
not
the
for
way to winning
Not even
conflicts.
close.
It's blood and iron. That's how you win.
Blood and iron. Well, I don't know. It seems like a foolhardy and risky plan. I think Ani is going to get killed. Fortunately for me, at least everyone here knows that, well, I'm not good at lying. I haven't ever want to. And I don't think any of these people are going to trust me. I mean, let's just be honest for a minute then. So
Why would they?
That being the case, if one of you dies, I suppose that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make.
Well, unless you have a better plan, but keep in
I'm also
mind
in
I have.
favor to leave the Mihangi here when we escape.
Hmm.
Well, I don't think we're going to hear about that. I think I'm going to get that hole and make that hole bigger.
Yeah, we need someone to work on that.
Yeah. Hey, you forget who knows the hole too, don't you?
Yes, well, I think, as I said, I have had to hide for many years and lied to a great many people. But, so I do know my way around that sort of thing. But unless you have a better plan, Yavashtaka.
Well, I have a plan. Behind gear known for a lot of things. We're not technical planners.
Which is why you still live in the fucking forest.
I live in three, but right now we all live in a hole in the ground.
That is true.
Right, it's very true. Filthy Kalfar, Darkling.
Disgusting wolf. Living in dirt. Filth.
We're both living
What
in dirt.
cities, what cities have your people built?
What cities have my people built? Well, we just have one, and I'd love to take you there sometime.
And I'd love to take you to the city of Jolf sometime, too.
I don't know what that is, but I believe I'll decline on their offer last.
Jolf? You've never heard of Jolf?
It
portion
sounds
of
like
it
something you're
sits-
just making up. I believe you're lying to me.
And I bet you thought your parents were lying about the Kalfar's existence, too.
Well, you should hope something so abominable couldn't possibly be true. Still, sadly, there are some that will do all sorts of despicable things. I've seen it myself in trade in some of the strangest shows of the Strait at the nights. Being nocturnal, I see unfortunate things sometimes.
You people are so ridiculous. We
What am I-
live
Oh.
directly below you, where our cities span under your country, under
Oh.
Rodaland, everywhere.
What?
We live directly beneath your feet, and you don't even know it.
Oh, cut up, buddy. You're telling me lies. And I get all nervous thinking about, like, God, there's going to be some truth to that. They had to come from somewhere. Disgusting.
We are wasting time. We need to.
Indeed.
We need to move on with our plans. Whatever. they
She
may be.
kind of is hefting the tool in one hand, and instead of throwing it to Thalagar like she had previously, she says, "Mr. Ferrum, let's see if this is going to do us any good at all before we jump to any rash plans."
Yes.
So you can go ahead and make a... I guess this would be probably a spelunking roll, right? If he's going to try and hack away at the wall.
Yeah, that'd be minor, spelunking minor.
Can I instead just try and examine the quality of the blacksmithing?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Would that be a blacksmith?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm a lot better than that. I have a 40 in iron, and I have another one in weapons, and 2 in blacksmithing.
Cool.
So that gives me... What does the 40 give me as a bonus?
It's a +1, I believe, until you have more than 5 grades.
Oh, alright. So that's then 2d8. So my dex... Alright, let's roll this. Ew.
Oh, suppressed.
Oh.
So you rolled an 8, and what's your bonuses?
The bonus, that is 2 plus... Does the weapons count as well? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess this could function. Yeah, it's somewhere in between a tool and a weapon. It's a little crude. So
So
we'll give you the bonus on that one.
Alright, so that'd be 4 from the blacksmithing, iron, and the weapon. Yeah. And the dex bonus as well, I suppose? No, I'm sorry.
Should
Yeah,
be- is it dexterity? I think it's intelligence for blacksmith.
oh, jeez. Yeah. Then I don't think I get a bonus from that. Not the sharpest knife.
So what's your total?
That's then 4 plus the
Plus
dice
8.
result. Yeah. So that's 12.
Okay. Yeah, you succeed.
Hallelujah.
The craftsmanship on this thing is quite good under the circumstances that you're all living in. You're actually kind of shocked that they were able to, presumably without an actual smithy, being able to create something like this. It's pretty strong. It will withstand blows. It's not just going to crumble in your hand.
I hold it in my hand and I glare at it. Farah must have made this. Well, considering how they did it, it will hold. Trust me, this will hold. This is no, it will suffice.
That is good to hear.
And I swing it a bit around. Yes, simple, but it will be effective.
So where to now? Agaza or Caladorn?
We have to decide whether we're going to go up against, if we are going to go up against this Vigish and his group by himself, or if we pit the two groups against each other. This is our decision, and we need to make it now.
I'm in favor of letting them fight. That decreases our risk of injury, which I'm always in favor of.
Well, that doesn't sound so bad. But we need to weigh that against time, for we do have an element of time of working here. We got this hole, and it's who knows how long we can keep it hidden. And we got hunger, disease, all sorts of problems here, and also being killed. Remember, those Chthon things, as you identified them to me, right? I came in the night to eat us. Things will be coming soon enough to try again.
Perhaps it would be best then to just to directly go against this group of fire wielders by themselves, this Vigish, a direct How many did you say there were, CERN, in the cave?
Aside from Agaza himself, there were 3 there. But believe me, when you see this place, you'll know why I have a little trepidation about this.
It might take too much time to work the groups against each other. In addition, it is risky for me to be left out at the mercy of this other of Kaladin. I don't see very many other way, and I definitely don't want to go against that ogre. That's for certain.
I think at the moment we're all in the sights of Caladan. I don't really think he's interested in having us in his congregation.
I don't either.
The Mihan Gi, I wasn't there, but I can't imagine you were very nice to him.
It didn't go over very
Praying.
well, Cern, I'll tell you that. I told him that's part of a god of flowers. And he's a liar on top of that. They're lots
Gotcha.
of worshiper, as far as I can tell. Liar.
On the
I'm sure
Vygish
he
it
would
is.
have been pleased had a Kalfar shown up to his little prayer service.
I think it is best we go against the Vygish. We go and pretend to meet with him, but instead we jump on them when we get the chance and kill them.
Okay.
I don't see any other way.
Alright. You take the weapon then, Bryce.
I kind of look at the weapon. I kind of try, I kind of sort of wield it in my hands. Like I have some familiarity around. I do have familiarity around weapons. What would I think that this would most easily fit into a category of? Is this more of how large is the weapon? What sort of category would I think this is in? If it were in a weapon category. I think you're muted.
Hey, Matt, you're on mute.
Sorry, I was trying to fix it. Okay, so yeah, I've been trying to say it's probably an axe. It's a little bit top heavy, but yeah, it'd be an axe.
I kind of smile at this moment. Oh yes, I have much familiarity with this. I think this shall go quite well for us. I think this is our best plan. What do you all say?
As good as any. I just want to get out of here as soon as possible.
Well, I am in agreement, perhaps the first time ever on the firearm there. We need to get that hole wider, so whatever it takes, however many bodies, and I will play my part, for I am no coward. I'm raised from the dark wood in my veins, but I do not understand the ways of planning and trickery and deceit. That's not what I am, but I will play whatever part I can. I would make that abundantly clear to each of you.
Just leave the talking to me.
What?
Just leave the talking to me then. All right,
All right.
and I
will
grab.
take you.
Come on, my friend.
I'll take you to Agaza.
Good.
So she leads you out of the cave, and it actually takes you a little bit of time walking through the trench, and you can see various unsavory elements watching you as you walk along. Some paying attention to you, others look totally broken in spirit, some dying in the heat. And it is hot. Ahura Mazda, his rays beat down upon you. And although you are far from Morgul, the heat emanating from the ring of fire surrounding and encapsulating Kavega Thale warms you, causes you to sweat. You see that there are hundreds and hundreds of caves offshooting the many different levels of the trench walls. There are thousands and thousands of prisoners here. Again, this entire place is nothing but a prayer to He who has many names. Your very presence here makes him powerful. You finally arrive at the mouth of a cave that looks rather ominous. There are almost what looks like teeth, stalactites, coming down from the very entrance. And you can see from the inside the glow of flames from further inside.
Yes.
This is it then.
In my mind, I utter another prayer to the divinities, to whoever one shall support me to escape this place, to help me in this time of need. And so, okay. And I start walking in confidently.
I flank him and kind of covering his right-hand side.
Who here speaks Moolish?
I do.
Yeah, it's just the two of them and then I haven't gone with them. Is that correct?
Unless you, I assumed you did, but if not, that's up to
Okay.
you.
Yeah. No. That's fine. I had a little break there where I couldn't hear you guys, so I wanted to make sure. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
having some technical problems. Apologies.
Okay, so
Yeah, I'll definitely go.
all right, so you're with them. Cool. So do you speak Moolish?
I do not speak Moolish though. To answer that question.
Okay.
I do speak Moolish.
No, for me.
Okay, you can hear Moolish being spoken down the tunnel in a very, very harsh language, guttural way. And as you go down, the flames begin to glow brighter and brighter, the light, until this cavern actually opens up into quite a large place, and you're impressed when you get inside. There are, it looks like the crudest blacksmith that you've ever seen in your entire life, and there are 4 Vygish inside, all of them shirtless, and they are almost skeletal in how skinny they are and how malnourished and underfed they are. But when you look into their eyes, you can see why these are known as the people of steel. There is just such a hardness behind them that you have never seen in your entire life. Behind this yellow, pale flesh, this noseless face, and there is a pit in the center of the room that has a large flame, and there is one standing behind the flame. You can see his eyes almost glittering behind them, and as you approach, he just kind of sticks his hand into the flame and draws some of it to his mouth and begins to inhale. He begins to drink the flame, the fire.
I just look impressed that I could do this, such a forge in this place.
You can see them staring at you, Mr. Ferrum.
I bet.
And they've when you came in, they were just talking, Bryce. You could hear them speaking really just about the work that they were doing, the smithing that they were managing to accomplish. And when you come in, he looks at the Ferrum first and says unto Julian, "Have you come to give yourself to us? Have you come to allow us to forge you into a blade, into a tool?"
Speak to me. He is not one you should speak to. I'm the one who rules over these people. And I say this in Morghulish, actually, since they are Vygish.
Says, "Interesting, you speak our tongue well." Returning in Morghulish.
Yes, I am familiar with your people. I was once a follower of Dista, who is one of Morghul's children. But now I seek a new divinity to follow. Who do you worship?
I worship Mool. The others, Morghul.
Interesting. Well, I've been told by this Ferrum here that your work is very shoddy. We need better weapons than this if we are to fight these, as you say, this Caladan. show us how you make these things.
When you insult his work, he looks at the Ferrum and just begins swearing in Moolish at him, just the most foul things that you can possibly believe. And as he's kind of reaching this kind of climax in his speech, he begins to draw in more flame, drinking more of this fire in an attempt to kind of intimidate you. Just you see this flame just kind of dwindle as he's drinking it into his body. Shoddy?
Yes.
Shoddy.
That is what he said.
Can your Ferrum do any better?
I've been told he can. Show him your tools. Put one in his hand, and I'm sure he will show you his masterful craft.
I'd rather cut his throat, drain his blood, than sift through it to find the ore that I need to keep making these. My trade is all I have. What is it that you have in this place?
Me? I have the ear of Caladan. He trusts me.
Interesting. Trust is not something I think Caladan gives to anybody, except for maybe his ogre companion. He's a viper, that one. Disgusting. His very existence makes my skin crawl.
As I'm sort of speaking to him, I'm moving a little bit closer to him. Not uncomfortably close, but definitely closer. Being a little bit more seeming to be a little bit more conversational. Yes. There are many things that our group can provide for you. But I think we would like to see perhaps hold some of these weapons. Perhaps you have something better than this.
Perhaps. What are you willing to offer me in return for them?
Well,
I understand getting to Caladan is no easy task, and for that you may need equipment.
indeed.
But nothing is free, especially not in this place.
Name your price.
The Ferrum.
do-
His life, his blood, his ore.
Yes. Well,
And
that
he
is a
speaking,
possible.
He is speaking in Morghulish, so this is not something that our Ferrum would understand.
I assume that
Nailed
they
the heads.
understand our conversation. We've been speaking in more Ghoulish this whole time, I assume.
Mhm.
Yes. Well, I will have to see something, something in my hand, something in the hands of some of my companions before I can fully trust you. I need to see a little something of what you have, something perhaps that, and I kind of point at the, at Yavashtika. Perhaps you could give something to him, and then I will hand over the Ferrum.
I look definitely suspicious. Like, what's he pointing at me for? Like,
You want me to hand a weapon to a wolf fairy?
Yes. Don't worry, he's not as dangerous as he looks.
Huh.
He follows a dead god.
Has he tried nibbling away at your flesh yet?
Not yet.
He will.
I'm sure he will. I had plans for him.
I like you. They don't understand what we're saying, do they?
Oh, not a word.
I will give you a weapon. Another, like the one you have here. And he kind of steps back and the others have been silent the entire time as they look, and you can tell that he must be the kind of patriarch here. And he walks over to the corner where there is a rack made from bones, the bones of something even larger than an ogre, something you've never seen, the rib cage in between them, each one of these things hanging, and he grabs one more pick, and he brings it over to you, and he hands it to Yvashta Ka, and he says, "Bring me the head of Caladan."
He says it to me?
Yes, he does. Not in a
What
language you
language does he
understand.
speak to me in?
He's speaking more Ghoulish.
Oh,
He's
I
saying
don't
it
know.
for the benefit.
I look at him blankly. So what exactly is he handing me now?
This is another one of these picks. It's like a large. It's like the femur of like an ogre, basically, with at the head of it a large piece of iron that has been worked onto it. That's really sharp. It's almost like a really crude hoe or
Yeah.
pick.
Do they?
Oh, when he speaks to me in more ghoulish, I just look. I have no idea how to speak that, so I just look at him confused.
Do they seem to have any weapons on them?
Not on their person, no.
Okay.
Are there more weapons on this?
Oh yeah, there's like 5 or 6 of them on this rack.
Understand.
Before he backs away, I say into Julian, "Now, get them! Kill them now!" And I reach for, I take the hoe and I go at the guy.
I guess we attack.
All right.
That surprises me.
Okay, so let's all roll reaction.
How many of these guys were there again, Matt?
There are 4 total.
It's just the 3 of us. Sven isn't here, right? Cern isn't here?
Cern is with you, yes.
Okay.
Alright.
Reaction.
Oh!
Well,
Rolled snake eyes. Is that what I heard?
Double ones.
The sound of 2 1s being rolled.
oh, I got a 3.
I have 13 total. 13, not too bad.
There we go.
I put my initiative up on that counter.
I'll be right.
My reaction is again
Reaction.
13.
I'm sorry, reaction, yes.
Yeah, reaction is 13.
So we have...
So Andrew, what was your reaction again? One more time.
13.
Okay. Okay, I've got the list now. So, as you shout into Julian, oh, Andrew's here. Okay. So as you shout into Julian, they immediately, you've seen that they're on edge, and Andrew, you're caught completely off guard. You have no idea what's happening, and Agaza reaches his hand into the flame, and basically draws out a large ball of fire that he is directing at Bryce.
Sounds like a good place to throw fire as long as it's not coming to me. I'm going to try. I have this pick in my hand.
So Bryce, you're going to have to try and dodge this. He's throwing a fireball at you.
Oh, he goes before 13?
Yes.
Oh,
He rolled
I didn't know.
21.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he exploding 8s.
Oh!
Is this evade then?
Yep.
Okay. I do believe I have evade. I have 1 grade of evade. Oh, God Almighty! Another snake eyes there.
Oh man, this plan
I
is going
definitely do
horribly
not.
awry.
I completely. I'm looking towards the one I was speaking to. Who just gave the pick, and I did it out of the thin blue air. I just get hit immediately by this huge ball of flame without seeing it. Totally just hit.
All right, so you are going to take 7 points of damage on that.
Oh, my flesh burns. Oh.
Okay, so Bryce is now burning and his flesh is going. Yavashtika is up.
You know what? I think I'm just going to try to bite the closest one to me. How about that? I got this pick in my hand, which I'm going to save for later. But I'm going to try to. I'll rush up to one, and first I'm rushing towards them. How far away are they from me?
Very close quarters. I mean, it's a couple of steps. You can.
I mean, are they so close that I need to use a move action or no?
Yeah, you'd have to use a move action.
I didn't know. I mean, if it's like literally just they're
Oh no! You're not like just within striking distance, but you can.
Yeah, that's what I will do. I wasn't quite sure on that. All right, so I will use that, and I will rush towards him. And actually, no. As I rush forward, I'm going to try to use the pick. Why not? Let's see how horrible that goes wrong for it. Okay, and it is a pick. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right. Now, for those of you that want to understand the skill system at home, it is, of course, 2d8, but then we have penalties, because if you don't know anything about a particular skill, weapon, what have you, it is, unfortunately, even more difficult to use that. Neither do I have a skill that's going to be helpful with that. I don't have spelunking, I don't have axes, none of that stuff. So, I'm going to be at a -4 penalty, the reason I explained that to you, which means I have a total of 7. I swing with a 7 against this guy, so there you go.
You do not hit him.
As I rush towards him through the hole, my eyes glaring with green fury as I swipe with an awkward swing of a man who has no aptitude for weapons at all, much less for a crude weapon only should be used by a filthy, loathsome, dirty Farum like my companion here.
He deftly moves out of the way. And one of the others who is standing next to you, again, he goes for Yavashtika to attack as you've swung and missed. He's coming out with you with his bare hands. That was off the wood. He rolled a 10.
Oh! He did not well enough. Unfortunately, I had the best roll I've had there so far. That was what you call the exploding 8s. There's 2 of them.
Oh, nice.
Well, yeah, it'd be kind of a waste of time to roll it, if I'm gonna be honest. But all right, so just for my own interest. Wow, that was a good comeback roll too. 16, 21, 28, 28, and because the 8s explode, people. When you get that, it explodes. It gets that excitement. You understand? 28, and then we add our defense. 32. So, at me, I slide deftly out of the way, hissing at him, my long fangs showing the fury of a predator as I prepare to lunge it and rip his throat out with my teeth. But we shall see what that happens.
So, Thalagar, you actually see this, and you've never seen someone move so quickly, so fluidly. You have to assume at this point that anything he's been telling you about his god, there must be some kernel of truth in it, because only the power of the divine could make someone move as slick and smooth as he just did.
And for another point on that, I am probably the fastest individual you've ever seen. My speed is 23, so you can compare that against whatever yours is. Way higher. So, you got that.
All right, so the next Vigish is up. George, are you good to make some rolls?
Oh, yes.
All right, cool. Because he's on the other side of the room where you are, and he's coming for you.
I'm just looking for my dice, because that dice roll I know will screw me over.
He rolled a 2. So
Oh, I think I have this. Oh yeah, boys, don't you worry. We are at 15.
this one seems especially malnourished as he lunges forward, almost like a corpse, looking like a corpse, and just kind of almost trips in front of you and regains his balance. And Thalagar, you're now up.
Just out of curiosity, are these weapons that count as axes, or could I use them as like something as a crushing, like with the backside, maybe just
Yeah, if
use
you
them
use
with
the
the hammer?
backside, you could definitely use it as crushing.
All right, then I'm gonna lunge forward and I
They
try.
kind of they kind of straddle the line between an axe and a club.
Okay, that is perfect. Then I will rush forward and try to get one of these weapons in my hand so I can crush these foul beasts. How dare they make better weapons than me?
After that one stumbles in front of you, awkwardly trying to reach and choke your stumpy little neck, you're able to just kind of bound past him and get to this rack of weapons and grab a weapon in your hand.
And I just... Carl!
And at this point, the third Vigish, or the fourth one, excuse me, is on his turn, and he is trying to finish off Bryce over here. Which, by the way, are you in the quick yet?
I am very barely. Well, I'm out of the quick. I am not
Okay.
in the quick.
Okay, good. Oh yeah, so he's coming for you as well.
Okay.
And he rolled a 10.
Come on, man.
Actually, he rolled an 11 because this is the second attack being made against you.
Yeah, that's not gonna do it. I got a 7, so not quite. I'm just too busy. I'm starting to burst into flames, and I'm trying to put out the fire as he comes at me.
All right, give me 1 second. Andrew, do you remember the the attack stats for a punch? Off the
For a
top of your
punch,
head?
yeah, it's 2 damage. It has no armor surpass, and it boosts on 7.
Okay. So you are going to take a 3 damage.
Oh! As he hits me, there's just now he hits me in the side, and there's a crunch of bone as he hits me right where the burn is, and he just punches in past the muscle, and he hits right into my rib, and you hear cracking as the bone cracks, and I scream out in pain.
Okay, at the so CERN reaches back. Let me actually do this roll real quick. Awesome. Okay, CERN with like almost power that you couldn't even imagine coming from someone so slight and crippled. The one that just punched you runs up and just grabs his windpipe from behind and throws herself backwards onto the ground and is crushing his throat in her hand, just screaming viciously. You can see her little canines glinting in the air, and her pink eyes glinting in the light. And she looks almost demonic, even though as the Kalfar she is so beautiful and attractive. There's something so vicious and awful about her as she just crunches the trachea of this Vigish on the ground.
Oh.
And now, Bryce, you get to go.
Oh. Bryce is obviously doing very badly, as there's now you smell the smell of burnt flesh and hair, as a part of his chest is now just horribly burned, and this guy broke his rib. He grabs that hoe-like implement in his hands, and he limps over to one of the Vigish and tries to swing desperately at him. He will not die here. This is not where he will die. He must continue.
Which are you attacking? One of the nameless ones, or are you attacking a Gaza?
I'll attack a Gaza.
Okay.
All right. Oh, that was pretty good. 10. Okay. Okay, I am in the quick, so I take a -2 at my particular point. So that I add, let's see, so that's only 3. So I have a total of 13.
Okay, you hit him and you got a boost.
Okay. All right. So that's, I don't know the damage of this particular weapon.
It is 3.
Okay, so that's going to be 4
And
then. And do I add my strength to this as well?
yep, you add your
Damage.
strength bonus.
Okay, so I add another 2, so that's a total of, you said 3, so 4, 5, 6, so that's 6 damage.
Okay. This pick just like slams into his backside, like right behind his shoulder. He just screams in absolute agony and pain as it cuts through some of the muscle, but he's still alive and now extraordinarily angry.
Vibrations of me hitting into him have caused me to drop my weapon in pain as I clutch at my side. The vibrations go down my body and into my broken rib, and I clutch at it.
He turns to you and goes to try and again punch you exactly in your wound.
Oh. Okay. It's 11. Add
He rolled an 8.
12. Okay, I got an 11. So.
Okay, you managed to hobble out of the way. Yvashtakar is up.
The one I swung the makeshift pick at as he swung in towards me, I slid out of the way and sort of got almost behind him, tried to angle with my tremendous dodge towards his neck. And of course, all predators want to grab the back of the neck and snap it, and we shall see if I do here. I'm going to have a 14 to hit him with a bite as I lunge in to rip the back of his neck.
He had a 6.
Well, unfortunately for him, not only is he going to be hit, he got boosted on once. And
he's toast. You can decide his fate.
4 damage. All right,
you can decide his fate.
My jaws snap down hard across the back of his neck. You can hear a sickening sound as the bones pop. And Mi-Han-Gi have very large jaws. They can open up much larger than, say, a human could, and they're full of powerful, sharp teeth for ripping and crushing and breaking bone, and you could hear the sound of that neck snap and pop as I whip him and ragdoll him slightly, and blood pouring from the wounds. I look over to the next closest one, my eyes trained on him, showing him the horror of the predator that I am, and I'm going to use one of my advantages to, as a move action, make a cower attempt. It is called Faster Cower, and we shall see what we can do against that. That's going to be 11, 12, 13, 18 for my cower attempt against him, which is, of course, resisted by meditation fear. And then whichever one of them is the next closest, which will be my next target.
So he rolled an 11.
Okay. Well, not only did I cower him, but we boosted on that as well. So he is going to be at a -2 for the rest of the scene to all rolls against me. As my eyes lock on him, the blood pouring from my mouth, from his neck, and he could definitely see that fate flashing across his internalized destiny as I drop the other one from my mouth, blood still pouring and staining my teeth crimson red.
He's utterly terrified of you, and it's his turn, and he's just completely fixated and horrified by what you've done, and he just backs up against the wall. And that's what he does. And Thalagar, you're up.
Oh, amazing. I turn to Agaza. Am I close enough to move and attack him, I suppose?
Yep, you could use a move action
Alright.
and then attack him.
I'm gonna do that. I'm just gonna try and crush him with the blunt side of this weapon and just end his miserable existence, building on what Mr. Bryce already did. So, oh, that's an exploding 8.
hmm
So that's 8, that's 11, that's 14, plus, let me check for a moment. So that's plus 1, so that's 14, plus dex bonus, right?
Yep.
So that's another 3, so we are at 17.
Okay, and he rolled a 10, so you boosted on him once.
Okay.
And your...
Strength,
Let's see
so
here.
my strength bonus should be 4.
Oh, wow. Okay, and you boosted on him once, so... yeah, you did 7 damage to him.
Oh.
He's not dead, but I will allow you to decide 99% of his fate.
Okay. So, Falaga just runs up to him, having this war cry. So, ah! And he tries to plunge his axe just right in his head, just trying to reach up and use the weight and his advantage, and just try to plunge in his face, and just wants to see those bones crack and that fire breath finally go extinct.
And the bones do crack on his face, and you can see his eyes. He's totally dazed as he falls, and a piece of his face is caved in inward, and he is stumbling, trying every time he tries to stand up. It's almost like he's had like 15 beers. He's stumbling and falling onto the ground, bleeding and trying to speak, but he can't because his jaw has been cracked open, and the others are wailing. The final Vigish, the one that had punched Bryce, upon seeing Agaza so wounded, turns to you and just screams at Thalagar. And he rolled an 11 as an attack.
Alright. That's 11 plus 3, so I'm at 14.
Okay. He misses.
Yes! Just kind of dodge the last moment out of the way, still holding on to my weapon.
Bryce, you're up.
Bryce limps over and grabs the weapon that's stuck in the Vigish he was talking to, rips it out, much to his pain, I am sure, and goes for the last standing Vigish, who's not cowering in fear. And I get an 11.
Damn it, I just dropped my die. 1 second. He rolled 5. So you boost on him.
Deftly, I swing it over my head, as I seem to have much skill with this weapon, and I bring it. That's going to be. So you got a 5 then. So how many times have I boosted?
On your weapon, he's boosted once.
Okay, so that's going to be adding. So that's 4, and then this is another 6. So this is 6 damage.
He is toast.
All right, well, I bring it down into, even though there's pain in my side, I use all my remaining strength left, and I bury it right in his neck. And his neck sort of just veers off to the side as you hear the bone crunch in his neck, and he flops over like a fish on the ground, twitching slightly before blood pouring out of this huge cleft in his neck, and he twitches on the ground a few times and then dies.
Awesome. Yvashta is up. The only 2 left, there's the one that you cowered, and there's a Gaza trying to stay alive.
I will attack the one that I cowered, of course. Uh, I will rush towards him, opening my mouth wide, letting him see the blood that still drips from my white fangs, and I will attempt to rip his throat out.
He rolled a
And
5.
I will have a total of 7.
Okay.
But do remember, he has a -2 to all of his rolls against me.
Yeah, he rolled a 7, but he's at a 5 with his penalty.
Very wonderful. So I have 3 points of damage against him.
He is an extra, so he is yours to dispense with.
Absolutely. I rush towards him, blood still dripping from my fangs. I grab his head here and his chest here, pushing back, exposing his neck. As I rip my teeth into it, slicing across the jugular, a large slashing motion as opposed to the predatory aspect I would normally have, allowing the blood to flow freely, bright and gushing out of the hole, and I bite again deeply into it, covering my pale porcelain skin in his blood. My face is red as my hair, as I look down to him with my hardened eyes, staring over at the last one remaining, waiting for my companions to send him to the doorstep of Laku. And I whisper in my mind the silent prayer to my God, who was dead and lives yet again. Take these sacrifices for the diamonds of the dusk. Bring yourself through the acts of their dying one step closer to defeat the enforcers, Loptif, and all other enemies of the time of the dying light.
Agaza is the last one, just crawling on the ground. Combat is now over at this point. I'm not gonna go with the turn list. Whoever is standing, Cern has rolled the Vigish that she killed off of her body, and her fingers are covered in blood as she actually managed to puncture through the flesh of his neck. And you're all standing there, and you realize that the light in the cave has gotten maybe 2, 3, 4 times brighter than it had been before from the flames, as Agaza just looks on in utter amazement and horror.
Father God just steps forward, just looks to the rest of the group, grabs some of those weapons. Let's get out of here. And with that, I will just try and just kick this ugly creature's head and end his miserable existence.
You manage to finish completely crushing his skull, and he is dead. And as you guys
spit on you,
as you pull the weapons off of the rack and you turn around, the pit of flame that he had drawn from, you realize now why the room is so much brighter. And almost in total silence, the flame has grown to maybe 3 or 4 times its size, and there is a face staring at you, motionless and emotionless, gazing upon your forms.
Morgul.
There's more tricks. Pay no attention.
Have you sent this victory upon me, Morgul? And I'm speaking this in Morgulish.
I look at it. Il Omen! Il Omen, a spirit guides us inside the flame! Oh.
And as soon as it's, basically as soon as you have noticed it and said these words, it just evaporates and the flame goes back down to its size that it normally was.
It is Morgul. Morgul has sent this victory upon us. Now I go back to Tehulian.
Oh.
Father God just grabs you by the arm. Who cares? Let's go.
Okay, all right.
I turn and spring out of the room quickly, leaving the 2 slower ones well behind me to deal with any spiritual ramifications that may come from the watcher, from the flame.
And yeah, I'm just gonna grab another weapon, and Thalaga will run out of the cave as quickly as he can, covered in blood.
I limp on as quickly as I can, but with my wound in my side, it is very difficult and painful to follow. Although I use all of my athletic skill and such to follow them as quickly as I can.
Okay, as you guys like get to the edge of the cave, Cern is like scrambling, saying, "Wait, wait, wait, you fools!" She takes her cape off and wraps it around Bryce as much as she can to try and conceal his wounds, and calls up to Yvashta Ka and says, "Wolf Fairy, get over here. We need your help. Support him." And she then looks over.
Against the foul Kalfar daring to suggest what I should do, but I do move over.
And she goes, "And wipe the blood off your mouth. What's going to happen when we come out of this cave covered in gore and death?"
I need more than that to get my mouth clean. I kind of lower my tongue out of my mouth. My tongue is quite long, and this is clumps in my face, but still far, far too much blood to even. I don't have a shirt or anything, so kind of in a rough spot there.
I guess try and whip the blood as good as I can from my hands and my face. It's splattered across the room. Okay. Am I acting normal? Just act normal. 3-1, we draw attention.
I will try. Pain.
Just hold it together, man.
I will.
And if Yvashta Ka will not help the human,
I'll do it.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Then I will just.
No, I just growled at the Kalfar first as her insolence to demand I do something.
Absolutely, it's disgusting. And then I will kind of walk ahead and let's get out of the cave.
Come, Bryce, then we should get out of here quickly.
You guys emerge from the cave, carrying these tools and trying to conceal them as best you can. And after you leave, you can see there's a couple of people who are looking at you oddly. It would be very difficult to believe that these Vaigish would part with so many weapons without incurring a great price. But still, they have the kind of knowledge of what happened in your own cave, the Chthons that went to devour you that first night and never returned. You emerged in the morning. Those who are looking upon you, they seem to have a grudging respect for you and are a little bit wary. You're also very new to them. It isn't until you get over halfway back to your own cave, you can see it just up in the distance, that you begin to hear the cries and the screams behind you, those of shock, excitement, and some of anger.
Pay them no attention. I will distract them for a bit. Hopefully they just fall over themselves to eat them.
And Ander, if you would, the Vaigish, what do they taste like? Are they edible to other species?
They are fairly well disgusting. They are Talos, and Talos are much like the Arwen and the Ferrum. Certainly a loathsome thing. There's a reason I didn't describe my character viciously eating them or stopping to drink their blood, which I certainly would like to have done. They are not as despicable tasting as Ferrum, but all the same, they are not. They are definitely not delicious by any stretch of the imagination. Their blood and their flesh too heavily flavored with the taste of steel.
Okay. So we can safely assume that they are not just going to be devoured at the moment.
They certainly could be eaten. They're not inedible, but they're a very poor quality of meat. I mean, very poor quality.
Right, it'd be like a last resort.
Yes. I mean, a nice, delicious chthon would far well easier do, even if it was a day old.
All right, as you guys get closer back toward your own cave, You can hear the commotion rising even louder and faster, and you begin to hear the sounds of what sounds like fights breaking out behind you, and the cry of "Murderers! Murderers!"
We might want to quicken our pace.
Yes. I move as quickly as my broken rib will allow.
I glance at the human, thinking to myself, perhaps that I should seclude myself into the shadows and stealthily retreat, leaving him to take the blame and the yells of those who scream murderer. But I do recall having flippantly said, yes, I will take care of the human, and I am not one to break my words, for such would be to empower Loptif and bring shame upon Laku. So begrudgingly I look at him and grinding my teeth angrily, pushing him on faster, not in any way babying him or allowing him to rest at all.
You guys, you reach the mouth of your cave, but it's very clear that there is a mob gathering.
Oh. So, do we start trying to break? I mean,
Get it open.
CERN runs to the back of the cave and awkwardly moves the dead Chthon that is now smelling, and it smells, and there are flies. And Yvashta Khan, when you see these flies, you are reminded of that horrifying devil, whatever it was that was on the steps, looking back at you. And you, as she pulls it away,
I shudder.
the crack, she grabs with her one good arm one of those picks and just begins to hack as violently and ineptly as she can at the wall, chipping off just tiny little bits.
She is actually very good with a pick. She's probably the best one of us. She's very.
Oh, okay. Actually, then, then actually on her kind of second throw or attack against this wall, she manages to get the blade directly into the little crack, and begins to try and wrench pieces of stone off of it, but she's not quite strong enough.
Falcon will just rush by. He is very strong.
I rush
he
at the
just
wall.
tries to. Oh, go ahead.
I rush at the wall and I bring down the pick on it as well. I am not strong and I have absolutely no idea how to use a pick. No spelunking, no axe, no nothing. 8 strength. I'm in the way. CERN has a 10 strength, I think, and she has, I think, like a 4 spelunking, if I recall. So, you know, she's vastly better than I am. I'm paying no attention to a dirty call far. I'm just banging and hitting the wall frantically, perhaps if anything being in the way. I'm sorry, Thalagor, please take it away.
I was doing exactly the same. I will, as I see her kind of connecting with the wall, I just try and get that out of her hand and use my superior strength just to get a bigger crack open. I have a strength of 12.
Okay.
And just try and use it as a lever, just break things open.
When you do, you break off a piece that is about the size of that ogre's head, that just cracks off, and there's a gust of air just blows past you, and it's a little bit wet.
Faster.
And you're all kind of standing there for a second, and that, like, this air that has passed through is probably far, far older than any of you or your ancestors. Whatever you just broke through, this is the first time that air has ever been released into the open in the trench.
All right, Matthew, I'm definitely going to take that to have been, in fact, a spirit, some sort of spirit of Igvale trapped down here in the bosom of Tahu, and my eyes flash around wildly. In fact, I even stop being in the way for a moment, banging, just looking around and all going, sign Igvale. Igvale, empower us to free whatever vapors of yours we trap down here in the belly of the underworld, and make our escape the same as we release yours unto you. Release us from this prison.
The cries of murder begin to get louder and louder and louder, and the light that is coming from the back of the cave, or the front of the cave rather, begins to kind of dim slowly as shadows begin to cast on the back wall. The other prisoners coming toward you. You can hear them climbing very carefully, anxiously into the dark behind you. Agaza shall be avenged!
I'm kind of standing towards them, kind of blocking their way if I can. I'm going to be the one, if I have to, I will be the one to ensure that the others escape. And I shout towards them, "Stay back! I have now taken their powers of Morgul. Morgul is with me. Stay back! I will use his living flame upon your flesh." And I completely believe this now.
Awesome.
Sorry, what did I miss?
Morgul is with me.
Do you have any piety?
I do not.
You
Not
do now.
yet.
You have a 1 piety.
Okay.
Okay, so this you've mustered as much strength as you could to make this cry against the mob that is coming to surely to tear you apart, to lynch you and then to devour you in retribution for the outright murder of an upstanding member of the community.
I care more for their community.
You guys begin to continue to try and break through this wall, and that's when the first wave of prisoners begins to break through and get toward you at the end. George, what you've missed was the mob basically coming back towards, coming to the mouth of your cave to come and do really awful things to you.
Oh,
Now
let
they're
them
here.
come. How big is the hole that we made so far?
I mean, it's not big enough for any one of you to fit through yet.
Curse it, we need more time.
I will hold them back.
Okay.
I have Morgul.
The first wave arrives. Bryce, you're faced with a Chthon, strangely enough, a human, someone that you've never seen before, and also a satyr, clumsily walking down this stone cave with his hooves. They're all eyeing you with complete anger in their eyes, but a little bit of trepidation, knowing that you did just slay Agaza, and whether or not you took his power, they cannot be sure.
Agaza was weak. I have Morgul on my side. I have taken his flame into myself. He burned me, and I felt his power. Stay back. I will kill you.
Stepping forward, the satyr just says, enough of this shit. And from kind of his belt, he pulls what must be the sharpened rib of another person, a piece from a skeleton, a carcass within the trench, and he lunges at you as hard as he can to try and stab this straight into your side. And if you'll give me one moment. He rolled a 10.
All right, I got an 8, so I'm gonna re-roll that. Oh, another 8.
Oh,
Oh, there we go. Got a 1. So if I rolled a 1, then I would not add that onto it.
Correct.
So okay, so I got 10. So I got 19 total.
wow.
Okay, yeah, you completely dodge his...
Oh, even though it is painful to me, I feel the conviction that Morgul is with me is filling me as I feel an adrenaline sort of pump through me, and I'm able to dodge aside this rib coming at my face.
It is your turn for an action.
All right, I will bring my axe down upon him if I'm able to. We'll see. All right.
He rolled a
I do
9.
have a -2, so that would be 8. Is 13.
Okay, yeah, you hit him. You did not boost though.
All right.
He
So
is
I
an
do a
extra, so
12.
you may dispatch with him as you may.
All right. So this is the satyr, right?
Correct.
So his hooves are very are clumsy on this sort of uneven floor, and I bring my boot heel and I trip him up, and he falls to the ground, and I bring my axe up and I bury it in his chest, and it takes and blood pours out, and his sternum is completely shattered as the axe cleaves deeply into his chest, and blood just sprays everywhere, and I have difficulty wrenching it out, considering the pain in my side.
Okay. The second one, the Chthon is stepping forward. Andrew, you're seeing this as well. Your kind of ineptitude with the walls, notwithstanding. You've got the Thalagar and Cern both working on the hole, and you're being advanced upon by these monstrous, disgusting prisoners.
I will throw
So
the pig at one of them.
Go for it.
Oh, an 8. Let's see if that goes for me. Oh, that's not bad. 10, 18, 20, then minus 6, or excuse me, minus 4 is going to be 16. 16 with the penalty.
Okay, you rolled a 3.
Wow.
What's that? Oh, what did you say?
The 3.
He rolled a 3, so
I'm going to guess he's dead, isn't it?
yeah.
All right, so I take this pick, which is just a long bone with a crude piece of iron on it, and I pick back and I throw it with force I did not know that I had. As the blade hurls through the air, it comes smack into the forehead, crushing and breaking the bone, penetrating straight into the brain pan as blood pours from the head. The eyes go wild and crazy. As blood pours from the mouth, the individual staggers around slightly, falls to their knees, spins about, and falls face first, driving the blade even deeper into their own brain. And I put my hands out and I say, Laku, yes, another sacrifice to you. Claim him. Claim his blood like you make the heavens bloody in the time of the dying light.
Andrew, your piety goes up by another point as well.
That would be your pious hurrah. So thank you.
Okay, so the human, the only one remaining, we have another poor dead Chthon to add on to the ranks here. Another dead satyr. The human, upon seeing these two new prisoners just absolutely annihilate his companions. He drops the shiv in his hand and turns and begins to run out. And he's screaming and wailing in fear. I will not die today. I will not die for the memory of Akaza. As he bolts.
Let him run, the coward.
You can still hear the crowd behind you.
Thalagar will keep trying to make a hole so they can escape.
You break off more of this stone. You get deeper and deeper into it, and you finally get a hole that's like barely big enough for you, the Ferrum, to kind of fit through if you turn sideways. And as you break through, there's like another gust of air, only this time it's bigger, and there's like a flash of light comes from it for just a moment. And this is like a clearly like mystical effect of some kind. And it's like your hearing drops out. It's not that everything has gone silent, it's that for all of you, if you've ever had your hearing drop out at all, it's almost like having tunnel vision, but for your ears. This kind of effect happens for you for one moment, and the ground begins to shake around you for just a brief moment. And then your hearing comes back, and there's silence, and then you can hear the sounds of the mob behind at the mouth of the cave. They're not screaming and wailing for your blood any longer. They're murmuring to each other. Murmuring. murmuring, until you hear
Quick!
a piercing cry from behind them, a horn being blown, louder than anything that you've heard in your entire life. And again, there's silence.
Doesn't sound good at all.
Break it open! Quickly!
You continue
And
to break...
that's a good one. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
No, that was exactly what I wanted to hear.
Mm.
I just keep swinging that pick, and panic
Swinging the
almost.
pick and swinging the pick. Sweat is pouring off of your brow. Cern, her clothes have been just completely, with it where they used to be fine and stylish, they are just utterly broken and destroyed. She begins to keep breaking through this wall until eventually you begin to hear screams at the mouth of the cave. Screams of pain and death. And
Oh,
that's when the smell hits you. The burning flesh of the people outside. And you can hear the sound of bells ringing. Bells ringing.
surely this is Morgul burning our enemies. You hear it?
Idiot! It's gotta be guards.
Guards. Break it open!
You can hear the sound of footsteps running down the cave, screams coming towards you. Now, this time not looking for your flesh, but looking for anything, for escape. And at the head of them is Caladan the Freyine, running toward you. And you can see rage in his eyes. What have you done, you idiots? What the fuck have you done?
I am going to rush over to the to this hole. How large is the hole now?
You could probably, if you really bent down and contorted yourself, you could get through.
What I want to do is like grab any bits of rubble, frantically, furiously grabbing them, throwing them, and then I just start sliding and trying to push myself in, hopefully for some sort of escape possible.
You disappear into the blackness of this cavern that you are just pulling yourself through, knowing not what lies behind it.
Go, I will hold them back! Go!
Remember though, I can see in the darkness.
As
Okay.
Bryce says go, I just leave him, and I suppose the hole is absolutely big enough for me when a creature can fit in. And I just go ahead.
Caladan is staring at you, and he says, "You've brought death to everyone. You've ruined everything that I have worked for. I will destroy you. I will eat your heart. I will fucking cut your head off. Do you hear me?" And he lunges at you. And from beneath his his robes, his tattered robes, he pulls a large, like very sharp stone knife.
Oh, yes! Alright.
He rolled a 10.
Who was he lunging again?
He was lunging for our Ferrum.
Oh, the Pharaoh.
Well, actually, no. Bryce is actually at the front. Yeah, so he's
Okay.
going for Bryce.
Alright. So I got 8. So that's 12. That would be a 20 total.
Okay, yeah, he misses.
So I dodge aside. I sort of push him into the wall, and I go for him with my axe, ready to cleave this heretic in two.
You have to beat 12.
Oh, I'm going to do that. All right.
Scalp him.
That's going to be a 13.
Okay, yeah, you hit him. What's your damage? Your strength plus damage again?
Yeah, it's 3 for the weapon, 2 for my strength, and there's no boost, I assume. So that's going to be a total of 5.
Okay, you managed to bury that into his shoulder, and he yelps in pain.
Morgul, burn your flesh, heretic!
And He literally just reaches out to your face to try and plunge his thumbs into your eyes.
Ooh.
He rolled a 9.
Okay, well, we'll see. Oh, I have gotten a 9 as well.
Okay, so you win. Defense wins.
So I barely
Yeah, you-
dodge aside as he comes for my face. He nearly gets it and grasps it in his hand, but the pain in my side is difficult. But I just throw myself backwards to avoid his grasp.
You've actually the axe has managed to kind of like pin him to the wall, as you kind of move back, and he just grabs it with rage in his eyes. His slight figure, so tiny and almost feminine by the standards of any other species, he grabs onto the edge of it and just pulls it straight out of his shoulder with nothing but murderous rage in his eyes, and lunges forward to try and stab you in the gut. Thalagar,
May
you can intervene.
May I
if you'd like.
intercept that? Yeah, I would. When I see that, I will try and just break his kneecaps.
Go for it. You rolled a 6.
I rolled. That's 2 plus that's 6. I'm at 8.
Okay, you hit him.
Yes. So that's 4 plus 3, 7. Yeah, 7 damage.
Okay, you literally like break. Well, I'll allow you to describe what happens. You've defeated him.
Oh, nice. So as he just wants to lunge forward and end the life of this human, I wouldn't consider him friend, but Thalagar sees this moment. He wants to flee, but he owes this man. So he just swings this improvised weapon at the knees, and they just break like brittle sticks. And it just goes unnaturally. The knee kind of pops out at the other side, and he just falls. The bones are broken; they stick out of the flesh, and he just falls into the dust where he belongs.
He falls, and the life basically like it just drains from his eyes as he's broken. And you can see, looking back up to the top of the cave, the crowd there's now just silence from the mouth of the cave, but you can see 2 figures silhouetted against the light. One of them steps out of the way, and there's just one standing there now. What are you guys going to do? CERN by this point has just dove into the hole.
Get in there, Thalagar. Come on. Yeah, get in there.
I'm going as far into the hole as I possibly can. I'm not just sitting here on the outsides of it. I'm just going and going and going with my eyes are well accustomed to the darkness, providing me black and white vision there. I'm going to go in quite as much as I can. Aramon's home is a place for me.
All right, so as the last of you, we'll say, is Thalagar staring out, this figure, 30 yards up in the cave, something begins to happen to their body. Their clothes just tear off as their body begins to grow. The neck begins to elongate. The face begins to elongate until the mouth is a giant maw, swords for teeth, wings sprouting from the back, and you can see what can only... You must know this is a dragon staring straight down the cave at you. It is giant. This is the flames that burned the mob outside. You can see them swelling up in the mouth, preparing to blow forth and just obliterate anything remaining in the cave.
Mama? No, no. I look at it, and I almost despair. And I just kind of fall and roll into the hole, probably just barely dodging the flames of hell.
So anyone who has gone into the hole has like a few feet in, found a steep incline downward, falling down straight into this hole. And as you are the final one to roll back and begin tumbling down, the flames burst forward into this cave and just burning everything and just barely managing to just singe your beard as you roll backwards. The flames just cut off by just the tiny hole at the edge of the cave. Had you been there, there would be nothing left, not even your bones. They would have been utterly annihilated. And as you tumble backwards and you're sliding and bumping into these odd rocks and everything like that, you kind of fall and come to until you and the others are standing on the precipice of a huge... you almost fall off the edge into just this tunnel of utter blackness downward. When you look up and see where you are, you can see that you're in an enormous cavern, almost perfectly carved. And when I mean enormous, I mean like this thing is like 100 yards across, and it's almost like a perfect circle tunnel going down, down, down into the ground. And when you look up, you can see barely just a little bit of sunlight coming from the top of this cavern, light coming from the top, and voices from far, far above.
Hear that?
There is no way to go up. As you kind of look around, you look down this precipice that you almost fell forward from, and below you, there seems to be a path carved in the stone. It leads downward, spiraling down along the edges of this cavern, down, down, farther and farther into the blackness.
We did it. I grab Bryce's arm. We did it.
Oh, careful.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Seems for at least a moment that we are safe. Still, we must move on further. We don't know what other sort of dangers might be native to this area. I am no creature from under the ground like you, Ferrum, or you, Colfar. So the two of you will have to help Bryce and I. We need to find food, and water, or blood, something to drink.
And we need to get away from the dragon.
Dragon? Oh, no, dragon. What are you talking about, dragon?
What? Dragon?
He looks around, and you can see that his magnificent beard, there are bits and pieces that have been burned, and he just opens his eyes. I tell you, I saw it, the dragon.
The dragon?
Teeth like swords. Nothing could stand in his way. I saw at the last moment I fell into the darkness. They have a dragon. It was him who burned. Must have been.
I think
Let's
you
move
have
on.
it wrong. You have it wrong, Thalgar. They didn't have a dragon. The dragon had them.
Or whatever the
People-
You
case.
can still hear from the top of
Dragon.
the cavern the bells have been ringing this entire time.
Oh. I don't like the sound of those accursed bells. I don't know what they are. I don't think they're your Morgul. That's, of course, you would want to worship a foul thing of fire. But still, we must find a way to go further. I want to get out of here. And I'm
Yes.
really looking around. Give me all my points of exit there, Matthew. That would seem to take me further away from the point we came from.
The only way that you have to go is downward.
And that's the way I begin to go.
Okay.
Come with me.
Yes, let's go. And I help Bryce and kind of lift him up.
Thank you.
Go.
So hard to see.
It is dark. I can see a bit.
No, my
Careful,
you don't
careful,
understand. My eyes
careful
are,
with these steps.
I have such difficulty seeing in normal circumstances. It's hard enough down here.
You'll get used to it. Oh, psh, we don't know who's listening.
Yes. Ah, thank you.
And
As you move
slowly
through
we
these-
descend.
This descent that you make down this tunnel, this pathway, it sometimes veers off into the stone, into smaller or larger chambers, but every time Eventually, it ends up coming back to this tunnel, poking out to where you can see, and you can almost see the progress that you've made as you go deeper and deeper until this tunnel that seems to go straight through the earth unnaturally. You finally get far enough away that the light at the top has been obscured, and you are in just almost complete and utter darkness. You get to a point, though, eventually where every so often there's kind of almost a bioluminescent glow from fungus growing upon the walls. Different light sources pop up here and there, and other times you are in complete blackness, only relying on the eyes of Ivashta Ka guiding you through this tunnel, this system of caves.
I
It isn't
completely
long.
give up. Oh, yes, sorry.
Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, at this point, I completely give up trying to see. It's just far too difficult, and I close my eyes and rely on my hearing to try to, be guided by Thalgar and follow the footsteps of Ivashta Ka.
Strange sounds follow you everywhere you go. You're confronted with things that you have never heard before. Echoes caused by your footsteps distort as they go throughout all of the various tunnels and caves and nooks and crannies that you cannot see. It's the eeriest experience of your life, even for Thalagar, who has spent many days in tunnels. Even for Cern, who has spent so much time underground in the underworld. And eventually, you realize that that is where you are. You have made it far enough, deep enough underground, that you are in the underworld.
No, we need to go up.
I cannot see. Where are we? We're so deep. We must have gone so far.
We are in a foul, horrid place. A place far past the vision and the eyes and light of my god Laku. It's a cursed tomb in the belly of Tahul, the foul creator of the Farum. It's a bad place to be. I feel ominous here. The spirits are strange, and I can feel them shivering, looking, watching, judging, evaluating, and waiting for their time to strike out from the shadows, out from the stone.
I can hear them too. Things scuttling in the darkness. Just at the end of hearing.
Where do you hear them? And I start straining to listen really hard with my hearing to try to detect these foul spirits, as I know they're here, looking to put my doom and feast upon my carrion. That's what I'm thinking.
All around us, they seem to stay at the edge of maybe your vision.
Yes, they're there. I could feel them leering upon us unwholesomely, in concert.
Horrible place.
I'm starting to get more and more afraid of what the unknown, of the dark, of the shadow, of this place that I do not know, and the fear titillates and crawls about my flesh.
Calm yourself.
The farther I go, the more weak I sort of get. It's very difficult to keep this up.
Cern is also beginning to get tired, and she
Something unholy happened. Hello?
Is Matt still there?
I don't know. I know what happened.
The whole thing froze, and I had to exit out. I thought maybe Matt's frozen too.
So it wasn't just for me.
No, it's everyone.
Okay.
Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. We'll be back up in a second.
All right, so I had the very afraid feeling the pins and needles upon my flesh of the spirits about us, of the strange hostilities of this unwholesome environment, never having been so far penetrated into the belly of Tehul. I, a creature of the forest, a creature of the city, a creature of a world with a sky or a canopy of trees, am feeling very, very, very ill at ease, as if there are banner snatches about every shadow, about every crevice at the corner of my eyes, feeling, touching, moving, and I'm very much paying attention for such things.
It looks like we escaped one prison just to end up in another.
Matt, are you here?
1 second. He got booted. I feel completely helpless in this area. Not being able to see a thing and just hearing things skitter about. How is it?
My eyes, but still there's something there in the darkness. You say you hear it as well, Bryce. It is a horror that lurks on the threshold of my senses as well. It's out there. It means to make a meal of us.
No, man. We made it out of there. We made it out. We will survive this as well.
Yes.
Just keep calm. Keep focused. There has to be a way up. Can't go down forever.
No. There must be a way out.
Always a way out. We found a way out of that wretched hellhole.
Did you grow up in this place?
I did not grow up in such a place. I grew up in the same city you.
You did. I thought all dwarves. I thought all of the Farum lived in the ground. Isn't that where you all come from?
Hugh and some do. And he looks over his shoulder all the time. Some do. Some still dwell down deep below in the old mines. Some of us don't.
Yes.
We live in our old city. That's where we belong. That's where I belong. I need to get back.
Now.
Of course. Where else he looks to?
Okay.
I live in trade, or at least I did before we lived here, or here, or whatever foul, damned place we are. Don't like it. Don't like it at all.
Your flame tender has returned after many a technical difficulty.
We rolled 2 1s.
What I was trying to say before we all got booted was that it's not long before you actually find a chamber where there is water pooling from a crack in the wall.
Water.
Water. Oh. I think we all just jump for it. Water. I haven't drank in such a long time, too long. And I go for the water and start lapping it up.
I at first using my hands and then just lapping like the wolf incarnate that I am, lapping at the crevice and the water. Some of the blood, unwholesome as it is, Vigish blood coming away from me. Well, I will keep an eye open to finding anything to eat here in the subterranean realms. I do, of course, have a forte in hunter and a grade of outdoorsman. If will help at all here. No spelunker.
Thank you, Leviathan. Thank you.
Sure, we'd like to thank a lot of things.
Well,
Morgul, Leviathan, Vista. Probably start praying that he has many names in a minute if we don't watch you carefully.
well, we rely on many things, but
So,
I think I finally found my path.
You should rely on yourself, man.
In a moment, you'll find a different path, though, won't you? Isn't that the way? You're wishy-washy.
No.
Some of this bioluminescent fungus kind of comes to life around you as you get closer to it. It kind of reacts to the presence of you. And when this happens in this chamber, you actually realize it's quite a bit bigger than you thought it was. And above where this water is coming out of the crack in the wall, you can see that light is reflecting off of something shining off of the wall. And you look up and you're looking at a vein of just pure silver in this on the wall.
No gold.
Well, there you are. What do you make of that?
Cern's staring at it saying, "That's the blood of Tehul, isn't it?"
I don't know. What is it? Some kind of... Oh, is that silver? Is that what it is?
Yes.
Oh,
Silver, look at it.
it's metal.
The light begins to shine just a little bit brighter, and you guys, it's almost as if this silver is like polished. It's not that it's been polished, but it's very, very reflective and almost kind of beautiful the way it's reflecting all the light. And you can see yourselves within it. But what you see behind your own reflections is the reflection of two eyes staring out of that silver.
What's that? I kind of like look in, and then it dawns on me that there's a spirit staring back at me, and I take and sort of run my hands, and I begin to try to. I'm assuming it's a spirit, and I begin to attempt to start to communicate with it. I sort of shift my focus and project my voice out into the spiritual realms.
What languages do you speak again?
I speak in Tehulian, knowing that it's something from the underground, but I speak Tehulian, I speak Ajiran, I speak Thuban, and I speak Thraxa. Those are the 4 languages I speak.
Okay.
And I speak
you can see this face, this large nose, these yellow eyes staring back at you, considering you. As you speak it in Tehulian, it doesn't really react.
I kind of look at it and I try my own languages to see if it... What manner of spirit are you? And I try this first in basically every language I know, which is Pelganese, Tehulian, Moolish, Hella, Dazazes, and Morgulish. See if any of those work.
It looks only a little amused at you. Nothing... Not... you can tell it understands you, but is unwilling to speak at this moment.
Can I make an occult-based roll to see if I can determine what sort of horrendous beast this is of the subterranean environment?
Absolutely.
I will. Okay, it's going to be 5, this is going to be 10, 5, 10, 14. 14 total.
You are staring at the face of a troll.
I pull back and my eyes go... And then I lean in and just kind of look at it and I go... And all it is some sort of like eyes inside the stone, yes?
Yeah.
And I say...
It's inside, well, it's inside the silver. It's reflecting out of the silver.
And I say in Thraxa... I also have... I have no malfeasance, by the way, which is...
Excellent.
very good. And I speak to it in Thraxa, which is the language that sounds much like the snapping of bones. I was like... And I say, great and powerful ancient thing, are you the ones I call troll? And the old tongue known past before the orcs, the children of Hori Nathraxu. And I stare in wide-eyed wonder.
It says back to you in Thraxa, but spoken in an accent that you've never heard, a voice that you have never heard, and it simply says,
You amuse me.
I seem unbelievably intimidated. I just said, well,
You have escaped the trench.
Well-
A feat none other have accomplished.
we are enemies of he who has many names. Knowing like the history there to some small degree with theology and occult, I'm like, I figure I'll throw that bone out.
That remains to be determined. I shall watch, and I shall wait.
What?
Know the name. Nogas.
And knowing that name very well, considering the faith that I follow, I tremble and shudder and kind of put my hand in my heart and stagger back and just kind of fall collapsing into my butt, feeling palpitations rushing through the excitement and adrenaline in my body, the beating, pulsing, rapid rate of my heart, as sweat breaks out of my brow. Like, I'm drool coming around my mouth as I become dry mouthed and I shake and quiver with utter unbelievable amounts of fear at the eldritch power of something that either is or is brave enough to venture that name in the old tongue. And I say, just my eyes wide, quivering, gosh.
What?
What is that thing, Yavashtaka?
Oh, gosh.
it speaks back to you, Andrew, actually in Pelganese perfectly, knowing that you had addressed it previously and it hadn't said anything. And it says,
Thing. I will not be addressed as thing. I am Nogas. I watch from behind the mirror. You are being pursued.
Do
It
I
is
know?
not safe here.
Powerful Nogus, I speak to that.
I assume I don't know what this Nogus is.
if you
Having
have theology, I would assume you do know that he's one of the divinities. He is a troll.
Oh,
He's
okay.
one of the active trolls that is not confined in the pit.
Yeah, I suddenly go pale myself and tremble. I apologize. I'm sorry. Please. And I sort of bow my head. Sorry.
What are you two drooling over?
Nogus! Nogus! Oh, God. Oh, great and powerful one, the Hoary One, from the dawn of time, he lurches forward into our minds.
Do not embarrass yourself, Wolf Fairy.
He says, what?
Do not embarrass yourself, Wolf Fairy. I do not require your supplication, nor your worship.
I see unfathomably intimidated by him, having the slightest idea of how powerful he is. And I like still sitting in my ass. I'm just staring in wide-eyed wonder that such a thing would even address us. So I'm in awe, and I am coward, and I am utterly confused.
You have accomplished the unaccomplishable. Escape from the trench, from Atramanurga. That has garnered my attention,
What?
and the attention of other divinities. You are not safe. Their servants will pursue you.
We shall be careful, great and powerful Nogus, and we thank you for your wise warning. I speak to him in Thraxa. our gratitudes. Surely.
Yeah, I speak to him in Palganese. Thank you.
Your thanks mean nothing. Prove yourselves as you did earlier,
Yes.
and maybe my interest will continue.
And with that, he disappears.
What was that?
That was the most powerful troll to ever exist. The son of Nefraxu Nagus, the great one that watches from the other world known as Reflection. He chose to look in upon us, to watch us. And it is rumored by the enforcers, I never thought it true, that Nagus was somehow in league with Laku. But perhaps such is the case. Perhaps Nagus is a wise and powerful thing that seeks to aid us in a cause against the enforcers, against he who has many names.
He
I
said,
feel emboldened, yet struck to my very core, in horror and in awe, in magnitudes of comprehension and bewilderment. It is a multitude of feelings simultaneously existing within my flesh, within my mind, within my heart and my soul. And I seem like unbelievably overwhelmed, like I just can't process.
Did he give you anything else except for drooling?
He
Anything
said
we
that
could
the
use?
servants of many gods will be looking in upon us. They will be pursuing us. Yes, that's what he said. And we must use this time wisely. I stand, recomposing myself as much as I possibly can, still shaking between terror and adulation. And I turned, we must move now. We must watch and look. I was right. Damn it, I tell you all, I was right. I could see those things lurking there in the corners of my mind, outside past the shadows. And they were there, true enough, watching us, the servants, the toadies of many thousands of multitudes, of God's greater and lesser, of angels, of demons, of dragons, and such things that you saw. We are playing a grand game upon the galactic board, and we are being moved. And we must move ourselves as well and fight against that tide that pulls, so we are not pulled down to a black oblivion. I will not succumb to the wrath of enforcers. He who has many names will not imprison my heart. He will not imprison your heart. He will not imprison your heart, or even your heart, Falcalfar. We shall triumph and strive. We shall overcome. We shall do what we must to preserve ourselves. Perhaps even liberate someone who has been foully accursed and imprisoned by this bastard angel, this dirty dealer of light, this usurper of life, this champion of hell. I for one will stand up against him as my god Laku has. And if it costs me my flesh, if it costs me my soul, all such things are temporary. I shall fight against him. Who will you stand with, Balagar? Who will you stand with, Bryce? Who will you stand with, sir?
Falagar
I
just...
do, by the way, have a 13 presence, if you will, and a diplomacy.
Oh.
my mouth is totally agape as I just like, and I sort of, as you're building up, I build up, and I'm like, yes. Morgul has showed me. He has showed me that he will support us. We will fight.
No. No.
He is on our side. You have seen. You saw the living flame come up and kill our enemies. You did not see it? Did you not see his presence?
No. Not Morgul, not fire. Fire is a bad, horrible thing. It's always only done bad. It burns trees, it cooks flesh, it singes beards, and causes chaos.
It does.
Not to be trusted.
But you're right, Wolf Fairy. We shall stand, not with your gods, but I shall stand with myself. And if you're willing, I stand with you.
And I stand with you, Farum, as though I am confused to say such words that creep from my tongue in the tongue of Tehul. Still I say them, and I say them with truth. For we must have each other's backs, for there are forces combined and piled against us, a magnitude of heaven, a magnitude of hell. And we shall walk that line and find triumphant, returning heroes, breaking through to the world above, to the light, to the canopies of trees, to the sounds and smells of cities. And we shall destroy all that he who has many names has wrought and built, and all his angels and all his followers do. And their horrors shall be put to bed, and their curses shall be ended. I spit on the ground. And that's what I think of you, he has many names. And I might take a piss too.
I certainly have a bone to pick with his enforcers.
Aye.
Regardless of who we serve, we can both agree on that. The enforcers must be brought low.
Olive.
Done.
Well then, let's be quick. If that troll is right.
I'm moving as I'm talking. I go, Olis, Zost, Zansaro, he who has many names, and their bitch queen Helena.
Yes.
All of them can fall low and be broken, for the war and the tide of the purple, of the red, of the orange, of the coup shall drown them out. And I shall fight them here for the ground, and you shall fight them for your own causes, and they shall be put asunder and defeated by the force of a Kalthar, and a human, and a Ferrum, and a Mihon Gi, watched over by the eyes from silver of the greatest troll there ever was, the father of the orcs, the creator of necromancy, the smartest entity that has ever lived, so say old scrolls I have read, in Thraxa. And he was in awe as I saw. But we must take his advice. They are watching. Take every shadow. Look at it. Devise the enemy there, in, and defeat it. Or know the wrath of hell upon your flesh and soul. Take caution to what I say, brothers and sisters. They are a mass against us. And like a paranoia just radiating all off you. Like, oh.
Even though Thorgar hates the gods and he's with a passion, he still is moved by those words. There's something he can find in there that he can stand for. If not for the troll, for the gods, he can stand for himself, and he can stand with these ragtag groups of survivors. There's some powerful wisdom in those wolf fairy words. And he takes the last part in the column, watching over them, making sure no one is sneaking up on them. They have survived hell, and they shall survive these caverns.
Cern steps forward and says to you, Mihon Gi, I am willing to put aside the differences of our people in cooperation of this quest. We have obviously been brought together by forces higher than ourselves.
Aye, it's true. I know it well. Powerful forces. I'm
And she
overwhelmed.
pulls out from the back of her belt a piece of Chthon's skull that she had broken off in our first session, and looks at it and says, I was planning on stabbing you with this.
Oh,
I won't do it, though.
well, appreciate that. Surely my gratitude for that. And perhaps I won't take a spirit of a Jiren, put it inside your mind, and keep you asleep forever and tormented in an eternal nightmare. How about that?
Wait, what?
Friendlier words have never been spoken by our peoples.
Well, and there's that.
I'll take what I can get.
Wonderful piece of chords and all.
As you leave this chamber and begin to descend further, as you look up this enormous tunnel going back up to the surface, you can see very, very, very far up things that you passed ages ago. You've lost track of all sense of time at this point, unless, of course, your species has an advantage that allows you to do that. You can see torchlight far, far above. People very slowly making their ways down the paths that you were. And just as you are about to step out again on this path that snakes down along this tunnel, as your head kind of pokes around the corner, Bryce, something flutters down the tunnel. Something almost silent, and you're thanking your lucky stars that it wasn't facing you. You see the gigantic body of a dragon floating down with its wings spread, open like a parachute almost, just slowly descending down, down, down into the darkness, farther and farther, until it disappears out of sight.
I told you.
Dragon. There's a dragon.
I told you there was a dragon.
I couldn't believe it. A dragon, a real dragon.
Dragon.
There's your fire. It's not on your side.
No, it isn't.
Trolls, gods, angels. We are playing on a cosmic scale. We must play the best game we ever had. We have even the most sliver of possibility to prevail.
And as you watch this form with its leathery wings descending down into the darkness until it disappears, the enormity of the events begins to finally weigh on your hearts. And this is where we're going to leave off for tonight. So if anybody would like to give a soliloquy.
I'll give one. So, the events that have happened, have transpired this day, are miraculous in the biggest sense of the word. My world has been changed, completely flipped upside down. And I realize that, as Yavashtakar has said, we are now all pieces in a large cosmic game. How could it be otherwise? I saw the face, the living flame face of Morgul. He showed me his favor towards me. I will now serve him. He who is I was born upon his day, as is my middle name Pyralis, meaning flame in my language. This is a sign. These are all connected, and now this dragon and Nogus from beyond the reflecting mirror world has shown himself to us. We are playing on a cosmic scale. It is almost more than I can bear. I must serve. I must pick a side. And in this, not only Morgul has showed himself, he has showed in my prayers. I prayed for a divinity to come to me to fight the enforcers, to fight all that is unjust, and clearly Morgul has showed that his favor is towards me and my cause, and I will serve him.
Very nice.
Would anyone else care for a soliloquy?
Well, I'm going to. I was going to defer if George wanted to go first. Allow him.
Yeah, then I will.
I always get a soliloquy.
Indeed, the events have toppled upon each other. Weird cultist, flame-worshipping man of steel. It matters not. Trolls, flames with faces. I spit on them. Unless they send me a good warhammer that I can crush this dragon with, what do they matter? My only concern is getting up. We descend down and down into the belly of the earth, but we need to go up. And we will. Those people around me, there's something to them. I shall not betray them yet. I shall not leave them behind. They saved my life. Now it's due to me to make sure they bring me home. For home I need to go. But first, that dragon scares me. He flamed my beard. How dare he? How dare he? For now, we must stay silent until we find a way out. Find a way up. We are at the lowest point. But now it can only go upwards. Thanks.
I reflect in the mirror of my mind like the mirror of silver that Nagas looked out upon me with his great and hoary eyes. I think back to a time stretched and spanned in cycles when the lavender avatar Ayadun took me and dunked me into the blood at the top of the spire, into the blood of Thog Qualix, the dead liar. And I was born in a baptism as a red cap, as a tribe of the ravenous. And I saw the world entirely different. I hear then again see the world different, and the words echo of Eadud as they echo throughout the valley below the spire, through those vast lands of broken clay and mud, through those lands of blue sand and farmland of stone of orcs. And I come calling even in this depths to me still. Those words reach me here from the Lavender One. And it says, there shall be a war coming. The forces of the enforcers shall be broken for what they have done to break the dying, the twilight, to break the heart that beats with love. And we shall come each and again another, and none shall be turned away from them. They wish the purple rose, they shall find it upon their lapel. And could it be that a Kalfar with one arm, a Ferrum with a burnt beard, and a human with a mind that is broken as the burnt logs it worships, all together shall be the founding of the army I take into the very depths of hell? For I do not fear that place. And I will enter there. I will go into there, and I will bring the good fight to them with all I have inside my beating heart. I will come like a wind of pain with love, and I will bring wrath against them for the first death they gave my God. They shall suffer death, and we shall see if they are strong enough to pull themselves back from the brink of oblivion. I shall see it, whether it is loathsome hoards of gold in that foul pit, or whatever other trickery he who has many names, and his lapdog Alice, his bitch queen Alida, his minion Zansaro and Zaus, whatever they bring against us, each of us, we shall stand, and I shall take these warriors with me into the very gates of hell in its maw and mouth. And I shall bring the savagery of the carnivore that I am, with gleaming white teeth and face dripping with blood. Do not confuse or doubt me. I have the power of the spirits on my side, and I shall bind angels to rock, and I shall give you a damnation of my making.
Bravo. And with that, you guys continue down into the darkness farther and farther and farther. And Andrew, if you'd like to give another shout out for your books before we conclude.
Absolutely wonderful session. It was great to play with all you guys, and wonderful game you put together there for us, Matt. Definitely the pulse-pumping feel of Nagas staring back at you. You want to learn about Nagas? Get 77 Thrones of Theological Content. Write it right now. Learn about the Enforcers, all 5 of them. Learn about Nagas. Learn about Morgul. Learn about the divinities that are reshaping fantasy RPG in your mind. Get Saga Book. Get your soul burned with immersive delight. Read Fey Wine and learn the story of Eadud, of the Red Caps, of the Spire and the secrets it contains. Soon enough, Monsters and Men will be out. A book of true names later on the horizon. You will learn the secrets of magic and eldritch and arcane and mystical might. Play within the Ring of Fire and redefine your RPG experience. Let the RPG revolution begin. And thank you, gentlemen, for one hell of a game.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
thank you all.
Thank you.
Excellent job, everyone.